From Big Ten country, ABC Sports College Football presents the Penn State Nittany Lions and the Ohio State Buckeyes at the Horseshoe at Ohio State University. Portion of the 96 football schedule in the Big Ten is over. From here on, it's meat and potatoes, the conference games, and a very big one just ending over in Evanston, where Northwestern 17, Michigan 16. The field goal came with 13 seconds to play in the ball game. Hello again, everybody. The outcome of today's ball game here in Columbus, Ohio, between number 3, the Buckeyes, and number 4, Nittany Lions, will echo throughout the remainder of this season. Both will play Michigan between now and Rose Bowl time. Ohio State does not play Northwestern, but Northwestern will go to Penn State on November 2nd. The theme, the commitment of both these teams here today at Ohio State will be stop the run. More on that subject now from Bob Greasy.
Keith, it is the Big Ten, and you do need to run the football. These two teams, the most productive rushing the football in the conference. Penn State does it with Curtis Enis, averaging over 135 yards a game. The surprising thing to me is Ohio State. Let's take a look at their offense from last year. 5th in the nation in total offense. They lose their tight end. They lose their wide receiver. They lose their running back. All first-round draft choices in the NFL. Their quarterback is a number 3 choice. They lose their fullback, academically ineligible. What is the common denominator? It's that big offensive line. The offensive line, the mules that will pull this offensive train for Ohio State.
Clippity-clopping right along. Well, let's now have a look at a traditional moment at Ohio State home games, the dotting of the I. And it's John Breen, music and education major from Findlay, Ohio, who has the honor in 1996. Lynn Swan will be along in a moment.
There's something about an Eggo waffle that sticks with you. The warm toastiness. The reassurance of 7 vitamins and iron. Nice to have in a morning like this. It's cold out there. Don't let them go without an Eggo.
Fidelity Investments working for you.
This is for Mr. Blanchard, who told me to make something of myself. For Miss Miller, who never let me settle for a seat. For my parents, who believe in my dreams. For myself, for my future.
At BASF, we don't make the mattress, we make it softer. We don't make the boots, we make them drier. We don't make the house, we make it livelier. We don't make the snowboard, we make it stronger. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy, we make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
Goodyear retailers are celebrating low prices. Now save up to 25% off the regular price on some of Goodyear's most popular tires. So call your nearest retailer at 1-800-GOODYEAR and join the savings celebration.
Out to Penn State, Ohio State in just a moment. Both of those teams undefeated. Michigan was undefeated coming into today as well and led 16-0 after 3 quarters. But when Brian Goins hit this 39-yard field goal with 13 seconds left, it completed 17 unanswered points in the 4th quarter, and they win it 17-16. Let's join Lynn Swan.
John,
here at the Horseshoe at Ohio State University, it is a tough place to play. But if you have a good football team, it doesn't distract you. If you don't have a good football team, you're looking for excuses. Those were the words from Joe Paterno. He said his team needs to play a solid football game here this afternoon. They need to focus. They need to concentrate so they can hear the calls. They need to be able to come here and concentrate, execute their game plan, and not be distracted. Keith?
All right, Swanee. Well, I guess Cinderella refuses to go back to the blue jeans, huh?
Northwestern.
Well, Joe Paterno, his ball club had a tough week up at Madison, Wisconsin. They squeezed out a 23-20 win over the Badgers. So now they get their second tough one in a row. Penn State won for the 6th consecutive time in the toss of the coin. And John Cooper will get the ball first as Penn State deferred. And Coop's Ohio State Buckeyes, ranked number 3 in the nation, possesses the ball. Carrying it is Demetrius Stanley, who had an 85-yard return last week in the opener at Notre Dame, but this time he's taken down at the 20. Stanley Jackson opens at quarterback today. You'll see Joe Germain before the day's over. There are the numbers. He's had 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. The Chile starting lineup, the Ohio State backs and receivers, and obviously the key man for the Buckeyes in their ground game is Pepe Pearson. He carried the ball 29 times last week against the Irish. So there he is, number 29, 205-pound junior from Euclid, Ohio. From the 20, first down for the Buckeyes. Beautiful fall day in Columbus, Ohio. And Pearson will get maybe a yard as Chris Snyder, defensive end, takes him down. It is the offensive front that makes so much difference for the Ohio State offense. It is led by number 75, Orlando Pace, 6'6", 330 pounds. The defensive front for Penn State, obviously, then, is going to be under attack. But it was Aaron Collins last Saturday who had a huge game, and he expects to do the same today. But it is that kind of offensive activity that can nullify the big plans of Penn State to stop the run as Stanley throws a bullet to Demetrius Stanley. Stanley being Stanley Jackson. The defensive secondary for Penn State, led by Kim Herring, Brian Miller, Sean Lee, and Mark Tate. That is a very, very good secondary.
Very strong, Keith. Good point.
Matt Calhoun is the fullback for Ohio State. Pearson is the deep man. It is a first down. The ball is at the 32. They play on real grass here at the Horseshoe. This is Pearson. That's the power of Ohio State. Kim Herring, free safety, had to knock him out of bounds to save the touchdown. You could have driven the Surrey through that one.
Well, that's the offensive front. The big uglies up front, Keith. Little toss, big gaping hole. Calhoun, 39, looking for somebody to block. This is not the way that Penn State wants to start off defensively. 2 first downs.
15 yards on the carry, first down for the Buckeyes, just beyond the 47-yard line. They've got 3 wideouts now as they spread the field a bit. Give it back to Pepe. He's looking to go outside. Can't do it. And coming up out of the secondary to make the hit on him is number 33, Mark Tate.
Well, Ohio State, they want to follow the big uglies. Those guys up front may be the best in the country. And defensively, they want to force Penn State to have to throw the football and shut down that running game.
Mr. Pace. One of his teammates said, Orlando, I wish your mom had named you Pasadena.
They've been to the Citrus Bowl in Orlando the last 2 years.
Third down and 12. And Stanley Jackson has the ability to put it under his elbow and take off with it. Sean Lee, the hero back, makes the tackle on him, but it's on the Penn State side of midfield. And it'll be third down and about 4.
Keith, that's the one to mention that Bobby Hoying last year, the quarterback at Ohio State, did not bring this team, and Jackson can do that. If things are covered, he can scramble, break out, and make something out of nothing.
Pearson and Calhoun split now in the backfield on third down. And And Stanley Jackson looks down the middle and goes there. Is it a fumble or is it incomplete? It is incomplete. Buster Tillman was hovering right behind the linebackers, and Brandon Short came over and popped him just as the ball arrived. Again, the score, in case you missed it, Northwestern 17, Michigan 16. Winning field goal coming with 13 seconds to play over at Evanston. Brett Bartholomew had a punt blocked last week. He bobbled the snap, and Wisconsin blocked him. Kim Herring is the deep man for Penn State. Fourth down, and it's a knuckleball coming down to about the 19-yard line, where Herring makes the fair catch. And so we'll see the Nittany Lions with their first possession.
In an age of streamlining and downsizing, Chili's still makes its Big Mouth burgers by hand, one at a time, by a person. What this lacks in efficiency is more than made up for in taste. Chili's Big Mouth burgers, monuments of inefficiency.
Play football at Chili's this season. In every restaurant, you can win 2 round-trip tickets on Southwest Airlines to anywhere they fly, a football or Chili's Big Mouth burgers, all just for playing.
Together we are better than we could ever be alone. We'll be a team forever. The world is ours to own. You're a part of me, the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
Powerful gas and diesel engines of any full-size pickup. It has the most available payload and towing. It has the roomiest cab of all, and better resale value than Ford, Chevy, or GMC. It's the truck that wrote a whole new rule book, now available in a leather-bound edition. Dodge Ram. The rules have changed.
Big Ten powers collide when Wisconsin heads to Ohio State for a battle with the Buckeyes or other regional action next Saturday on ABC's College Football.
Now to the offense for the Lions. Wally Richardson, the quarterback. He has thrown 5 interceptions, but he has been tough in the clutch. 4 times last year, he took them to victories in the 4th quarter. The Chile starting lineup will feature Joe Juravicius. He's 6'5". He'll have a little size advantage, but he'll be shadowed all day by Sean Springs. Curtis Enos and Jason Slode in the backfield, and Enos from Union City, Ohio, now comes way wide as a flanker. So it's a little bit of a different look to start the game as Richardson goes back to throw, and he throws to the outside, incomplete. The pass intended for Joe Nastasi, the flanker. The offensive front for the Penn State Nittany Lions is anchored by Barry Toach. Bill Ostrowski is the guard. He's the active one. You'll see him out in front leading a lot of plays today. The defensive front for Ohio State, again, part of the power. It features a freshman, Andy Katzenmoyer, and yes, he's wearing number 45. That is the number that was worn by Archie Griffin and was allegedly retired, and it bothers Archie not at all that his number is back on the field, and that is Ty Howard, quarterback for Ohio State, who is coming off the field with apparently an injured ankle. So that's a considerable loss for the Buckeyes defense as Antoine Winfield comes on. The ball is at the 19-yard line, where it is 2nd down and 10.
And Antoine right there said, I'm all right, I'm all right. He's shaking his head. He is a good defensive back, a fine cornerback. Howard is opposite Springs, and it'll be a big loss if he does not make it back.
This time they go straight to the I formation with Enos, the deep man, and he's got the ball. Curtis Enos blasts his way over the right side and gets across the 30 to the 32. He has some strong feelings about coming back to the horseshoe to play. Sean Springs, you see Winfield is in there at the other corner, but it's Springs that's going to be on Juravicius all day. Those two safeties, Moore and Kelly, will knock your head off.
That is a good set of defensive backs right there, and Sean Springs may be one of the best in the nation, or is one of the best.
First down from the 32 for the Lions. And here it goes deep. It's a rainbow, and it is too far. Intended for Joe Juravicius, and Springs was on him like a blanket.
The thing that Ohio State gives you, Keith, and this is what they did to Notre Dame last week, they're playing a lot of man coverage on the outside. The corners are covering the wide receivers one-on-one. That allows 9 men, including the 2 safeties, to stop the running game. So a play action and throw it long. These plays, the 15, 20 plays for Penn State, are scripted the first 15 or 20.
Second down and 10. Nastasi in motion. And off to Enos inside. And he is brought down by Anzi Katzenmoyer, the freshman linebacker from Westerville, Ohio. Gain on the play for Enos is about 3 yards.
Katzenmoyer, Keith, is, as you mentioned, a freshman, but he's playing in the middle between 2 senior linebackers. Belisari, number 30, and Miller, Ryan Miller, number 43, are both pre-med students and very bright. So all Katzenmoyer has to do is look over to them, and they'll give him a lot of help.
On 3rd and 7. Ultimer, the tight end, shifts over. Richardson back to throw it. Has time and drills it to the 40-yard line. The pass is caught, but it is not enough for the first down. Enos slipped through the middle, made the catch. Richardson threw it hard, but the Lions will have to punt it. Kenya to punt it, Springs to return it. Kenya averaging just over 39 yards per punt. No pressure. Got some spin on it. Springs circles at the 18. Finds daylight. Comes to the 30. First down for the Buckeyes at the 31. With 10 minutes and 21 seconds to play in the first quarter, no score.
Which pickup, do you suppose, has the most powerful gasoline engine, the most powerful diesel, the most cab room, the most available towing, the most available payload, better resale value than Ford, Chevy, or GMC? If you guessed Dodge Ram, you hit it right on the nose. Dodge Ram. The rules have changed.
Freshness Hotline, what's the problem?
Man, my party is lame. I think I got some skunky beer.
Sir, relax. When was your beer born?
Born? What are you talking about?
It doesn't have a born-on date?
A what?
Do you have any Budweiser?
No, man, you gotta help me.
Okay, remain calm, sir. We're on our way.
New Born on Dating from Budweiser, because fresh beer tastes better.
No! Sir, put down the skunky beer and slowly back away.
Final day, strike your gate and win. Victory we predict for thee. Whenever true to you, dear old white and blue. Onward day, roar, Lions, roar. We'll hit that line, roll up the score, fight on the victory evermore. Fight on, fight on.
College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. Fidelity Investments. Isn't it time you had Fidelity Investments working for you? And Chili's Grill and Bar, home of the Big Mouth Burgers. Ohio State gained 11 yards on that exchange of punts. And the Buckeyes will work from the 31 with Pearson and Calhoun in the backfield. Stanley Jackson sets and throws down the middle. It is caught. It is a great catch by Big John Lumpkin. He caught it right between two defenders. He's 6'8", 270 pounds, a sophomore.
It reminds John Cooper of Ricky Dudley from last year, one of the #1 draft choices I mentioned that aren't around this year. A fake, play-action fake on first down, too deep zone by Penn State. You want to get your tight end down there. A great shot of it. Throws it over the linebacker, Filardi, and into the hands. Took a good hit by Herring, #3.
And it's a 25-yard pickup for a first down at the 44-yard line of Penn State. This is Pepe Pearson. And Pearson is taken down just about the line of scrimmage by Kim Herring. Here's Swannick.
Keith, Ty Howard, the trainers were busy working on his ankle on the Buckeye sideline. He has a sprained ankle, and they anticipate that he will be back in on the next defensive series. And we'll see. Keith?
Thank you. Matt Keller is in the backfield now. He's a redshirt freshman in at fullback, standing in front of Pepe Pearson. Stanley Jackson back. Has time. Lets it go. Wide open. Demetrius Stanley. Touchdown, Ohio State. The touchdown pass, and it's the first touchdown against Penn State in the first quarter this season. Stop the run. They're consumed with it. Stanley got lost and walked in. Kick is good. 9:12 to play first quarter. Buckeyes jump to the lead 7-0.
Well, Keith, when you commit 8 or 9 guys to stop the run, the corners have to be one-on-one. The corners, and you've got some good ones. Tate on one side and Brian Miller. Brian Miller is a very good corner, but he takes chances. This was a little hitch and go, a little out and up. Look at Miller on top of your screen. He was fooled. A nice route by Stanley. Good patience and good planning by the Ohio State offensive coaches.
Better be careful with that strut. Get him flagged. Josh Jackson made the point. And the Buckeyes now will kick it off to the Nittany Lions.
Joe Hollis, the offensive coordinator. 3 plays, 69 yards, but I think it's pretty well known, Keith, at least around the Big Ten, that Brian Miller is a heck of a corner, but he does take chances. He has had 12 interceptions in his career. He will gamble, and you can do some business on him if you're patient. And that time they picked the right spot, and they executed it very well.
That's Andy Stamp, a sophomore out of Westchester, Ohio, kicking off for the Buckeyes. Gets some air under the ball. It's not too deep. That's Chafee Fields coming up to take it, a freshman from Philadelphia. And the Buckeyes jump on him at about the 22-yard line. Monday night, the AFC Division champion Pittsburgh Steelers will be on their way to the middle of the country against the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be their toughest matchup of the year. They meet the Chiefs in their home territory, and that is never a bargain. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern, right here on ABC.
Marty Schottenheimer, what a great job he's done out there, huh, Keith?
Yes, sir. Curtis Enos is a deep man with Jason Sload, the fullback. And there's contact in the middle of the line as Luke Fickle makes some contact, and let's find out whether or not he was drawn off. Dick Honig is the referee. All Big Ten crew, obviously. Here's Dick.
Offside on the defense. 5 yards, still first down.
So it was anticipation by Fickle.
Penn State comes in here. What they need to do offensively, balance the run and pass. Defensively, neutralize the big uglies. The last possession, they were paying a little bit too much attention to the run and not enough to the pass.
Well, if you're going to do that against Ohio State's offensive front, you sacrifice your defensive linemen, make the pile, and let the backers make the tackle.
That's true. You don't want to be up high because they'll bury you.
So it's 1st and 5 after the offside by the Buckeyes, and give it to Enos. Enos takes a lick from Damon Moore, but Moore didn't wrap him. You can't put a shoulder on Curtis Enos. You got to wrap his legs or he'll just run over you. And he's moving the chains right now for Penn State. First down, the ball is up near the 33-yard line.
Those two safeties, Keith, for the Buckeyes are almost like another pair of linebackers. Both Kelly and Moore, they'll make a lot of hits today.
Richardson, little play action, back to throw it, goes down the middle, tight end, Keith Olsemer, and the ball comes out. There's some pretty good traffic around in the middle where he was trying to throw that ball, because that's where Matt Pincus and Luke Fickle and Mike Rabel and Ryan Miller hang out.
Well, you're exactly right, but he wasn't trying to throw there initially. That was the outlet. He was looking down for his two wide receivers. The tight end was the outlet.
2nd down and 10. Enos to the outside. Tackled, and down he goes. And it's number 13, Damon Moore. This time he goes down around the ankles and wrapped him.
Moore is the strong safety, and one of the two guys I talked about. We're calling these guys' names a lot today. Damon Moore and Rob Kelly.
7-0, Ohio State leading. 8 minutes to go in the first quarter. They scored on a 42-yard pass run play from Stanley Jackson to Demetrius Stanley. Aaron Harris is in the backfield now for the Lions, along with Enos. Nastasi, the man in motion. Richardson back. Pressure's coming. Ball is patted right back in his face. And it was 92, Matt Pincus, who was in his face. Big senior from Aqua, Ohio.
Well, the Buckeyes had a little blitz on. Take a look from behind the quarterback. Take a look at what he sees. He sees a lot of red shirts, number 1. Belisari, number 30. Nobody blocks, number 43. That's Miller. He gets his hands up. Punting situation.
And Penn State's got to kick it away now with Sean Springs waiting for Darrell Kenya's punt. His first punt today was a 42-yarder. The first return was 13. A little better kick here. A little higher and more hang time, but Springs will take it and bring it back. 39-yard high hanger and a 10-yard return by Sean Springs, and Ohio State will go to work at their own 38.
Room 1203 wants to swim without floaties. Marriott, when you're comfortable, you can do anything.
Testing the new Eagle Talon TSI today is Sharon, a professional driving instructor. Ready? Let's go. Talon's all-wheel drive, great for this maneuver. Makes you real popular with road crews, too. Lots of power from the 16-valve turbo, 210 horses. Wouldn't you like to try some parallel parking? Sure. Nice technique. Hey, really.
Test it yourself. Make the call. 1-800-2-TEST-EAGLE.
Yesterday's antifreeze coolants don't offer today's multi-metallic engines enough corrosion protection from extreme hot and cold. They need Zerex, with its one-of-a-kind patented formula, not just to protect radiators, but also water pumps and cylinder heads. So use Zerex. Otherwise, your engine could be extremely unprotected. Zerex. Extreme protection for today's engines.
You look at Brian Miller. He's the one that gave up that 42-yard touchdown pass. He's very aggressive. The last 2 years, he has led the Big Ten in passes broken up. They throw at him a lot. He does a lot of good, but when you gamble, sometimes you get burnt.
On first down, Stanley Jackson with a little play action, rolling it out to the left. And gets a block on the corner and picks up about 6 yards on the carry.
He had a man open, Keith, a trailer going down the sideline, just didn't see him.
running to his left. I think Stanley got so far that he committed himself to the run, and he couldn't find the handle. I saw him one time sort of roll the thing around, but didn't want to take a chance.
Well, it's amazing the way I mentioned in the opening. They've lost 4 #1 draft choices. Last year, they were the 5th offenses in the country. This year, they're the 3rd-ranked offense in the country.
On 2nd down and 3, here comes Pepe. And cannot get away from Brian Miller. Miller having none of it this time, and he locked him down, and Sean Lee then came in to help.
Here's a look. They lose all these guys, Keith, in the skill position. And look what they're doing this year. In the Big Ten, they're tearing it up. And in the nation, they lead the nation in scoring, and they're 3rd in total offense. They're averaging 57 points a game. They lost 3 #1s to the NFL. Their quarterback, Bobby Hoying, was the #3 draft choice. And they come back and reload, and the common denominator, the offensive line. That's the key.
Pearson got a couple. It's 3rd down and 1 now for the Buckeyes as they get close to midfield. The quarterback keeps it, and he didn't get much. But he may have been able to get just enough as he fell forward in behind big center Juan Porter and Rob Murphy and LaShawn Daniels, the middle of the line. This is a very good offensive front. Porter is particularly an outstanding center. Eric Golston, the right tackle, very good at tackle, but he'll be back at center next year where John Cooper, his head coach, thinks he'll be an All-American. On the 49-yard line, 1st down. Shuffle around, put a 5-man front up there. Nobody's coming. There goes Pepe Pearson, and he's got another 1st down to the 38-yard line.
It's no surprise when they run left. When they run a 75 to the left side of your screen, Orlando Pace. You know, he's big, he's 330 pounds, Keith, but, you know, he's got good feet, but he's almost, he lets the other guy make the first move. He's almost like a counter puncher. He waits. He doesn't fire out, so he doesn't miss a lot of blocks. If you fire out immediately, you might miss a guy who is slanting, but he kind of waits and just reacts to what you do.
Pepe Pearson, 6 carries, 30 yards now, as he picked up 13 there, and this is Stanley Jackson throwing to the sidelines. Good. Caught by Demetrius Stanley at the 26 of Penn State. And that's another 1st down.
I love these shots from behind the quarterback. Take a look at what the quarterback's looking at right here. Looking to the right side, got good protection, nice opening to throw through. This time, Brian Miller playing deep, playing off, just kind of giving him a big cushion. Smart play.
5:50 to go, 1st quarter, 7-0, Ohio State leading and threatening again. Pearson, the single back. He gets it. Cuts it over the left side. Slicing in there. He's a slasher. He comes in at about 200 pounds. And though he is not the size of Eddie George, who was your Heisman winner a year ago, he hits with plenty of authority.
He ran for 173 yards last week against Notre Dame. John Cooper thought his defense would be the dominant character on this ball club. They returned 10 starters from last year. But it's been the offense that's been catching everybody's eye.
2nd down and 5. Pearson. Inside the 20, down at about the 18-yard line. Taken down by Kim Herring, number 3 for Penn State.
There's that Herring kid again.
Yep.
He's good. He's all over the place.
It'll be 3rd down and a good yard. A little more than a yard.
This Penn State defense is a good defense, Keith. The 7 starters returned from last year's ball club. They are well disciplined. They lead the conference in fewest points allowed.
Pearson. He's got the 1st down as he takes it inside the 15-yard line. Brandon Short and Jim Nelson bring him down. Jerry Sandusky is the man who coaches the Penn State defense. He's been there almost 30 years. Played there, lived there, has become a fixture in the community. And the father of the second best homes, 4 children. Quite a remarkable fellow.
Yes, he is, and a nice man, and one of the reasons why this Penn State team has been so good over the years.
Keller in the backfield. Now Pearson comes out of the set and goes in motion. Lions start bouncing, looking for, and it is incomplete, intended for Demetrius Stanley. The Lions wanted to blitz, but they were picked off, and Stanley came down the middle. Is pretty good coverage from Sean Lee.
They did blitz, Keith. Take a look at Ohio State, what they're doing offensively inside the 20. Scored touchdowns on 16 of the 20 times they've been inside the 20. That's phenomenal. And 2 of the 4 that they didn't score touchdowns, they kicked field goals.
It ain't a blitz if you get turned upside down. Second down, just inside the 15. Joe Montgomery is in the ball game now. He's got the ball. And he gets tripped up by Sean Lee, who just grabbed his foot when he went by. Joe Montgomery, a 225-pound junior.
Lee is quite a story, Keith. He's not very big. He's just about as big as a mosquito. He's about 5'7", 173 pounds, number 24. Look at him standing next to 34. That's Miller. Miller's only 5'9". Got some small defensive backs back there, but they can cover and they can tackle.
3rd and 9 as Montgomery stays in. This has got pass all over it. Here comes the pressure. Jackson steps away from it. It's thrown to the end zone, and Lumpkin had a chance and may not have been aggressive enough in going for the ball.
Well, there was another receiver right behind him, and he may have thought it was for the other guy, but a nice job by Jackson avoiding the pressure and putting the ball where it could have been, a play could have been made on it.
Lumpkin, remember, is 6'8", 270. That's like throwing to an armoire with an open door.
Well, that's a big target anyway. I'm sure that he could catch better than an armoire can.
Josh Jackson from the 20. So it'll go down as a 30-yard attempt. And it's good. He just barely cleared the line of scrimmage with it. The kick was low, but it's in the net. And it's 10-0, Ohio State. Tomorrow night on ABC, a show with an all-new homemade fun. America's Funniest Home Videos at a special time, 7:30, 6:30 Central. And then the wedding of Lois and Clark. Finally, an ABC News coverage of the first presidential debate. Check local listings for the time in your area tomorrow night here on ABC. Get yourself a handful of daisies now and sit down and watch that.
The debate.
Oh, the wedding.
Oh, the wedding. I thought you meant the debate.
Andy Stamp. Kicking off to Chafee Fields and Chris Campbell. Fields number 2 and Campbell number 11. Buckeyes leading 10-0, and that's not a very good kick. But it rolls around on the ground and finally picked up by Chafee Fields. It was so short that Fields couldn't get to it. Now let's check in with Lynn Swan.
Well, Keith, you know, we've been talking about number 45, Andy Katzenmoyer, the freshman who's playing linebacker for Ohio State. I think this is going to be his toughest game of the season so far because he's got to stay mentally in this ball game. We know that Penn State has to have a balanced attack. Enos is a strong inside runner. They're going to try and confuse the inside by formation and moving the ball around. So he's got to stay focused in this ball game or else that middle could be wide open, Keith.
Ty Howard has come back from having his ankle strapped. So he's back on the field, and here comes Penn State. This is Aaron Harris trying to get outside. He's a tough runner. We saw him back at the end of summer when they played USC in the ball game at the Meadowlands. You got a Buckeye down on the field, injured on the play. And let's pick him off. It's one of the, like one of the interior people. I think it's Katzenmoyer.
No, it's Belisari.
Is it Belisari?
Number 30.
Whoa. Belisari is the senior and the leader of that linebacking core, and they're looking at his left knee.
Yeah, Belisari's led this team in tackles the last couple of years. Pre-med student. It's hit low.
Yep. A senior from Boca Raton, Florida. He's going to stand up and see what it's like.
Belisari had 14 tackles last week against Notre Dame and is unquestionably the leader of this defense.
Matt LeVar comes in to replace him. You go from senior veteran, great player, to youngster, a redshirt freshman,
And he's
number 48.
right next to Katzenmoyer, who is a true freshman. So they went from having a lot of experience behind the line to a couple of kids that are playing this year for the first time.
It is Penn State football, second down, and about 7, maybe 8. Richardson comes it, caught by Nastasi, and Nastasi's out close to a first down. A couple of yards as he tried to turn upfield, and the spot will tell you whether or not he was able to get it. He got it.
Wally Richardson's numbers this year are not as good as they have been in the past. He's 2 of 6 now for 13 yards.
And his team is trailing 10-0 with 2:20 to go in the first quarter. First down for the Nittany Lions with Enos. And a pretty good collision at the line of scrimmage this time. They hit hard enough, there were sparks flying around. Number 92, Matt Finkus, 258 pounds, and Luke Pickle, number 99.
Now, this defensive line, Keith, as you know, has a lot of experience. Both ends are 3-year starters, Vrabel and Finkus. And Fickle, the nose guard, is a 4-year starter. So they've been around. They've seen a lot of tricks in their time here at Ohio State.
Second down and 10. Richardson back, looks for Nastasi, throws it to him on the sideline. He's knocked out of bounds at the 38-yard line, and that's close to another first down for the Nittany Lions.
They're throwing to Nastasi because he is lined up away from Sean Springs, who is the outstanding cornerback for the Buckeyes.
Ty Howard, incidentally, has come back off the field, and Antoine Winfield is now in there at the cornerback, number 11.
It's tough to play corner, Keith, out there on the outside if you've got a sprained ankle.
This time they send Juravicius to the boundary side, and Springs comes with him. Bottom of your picture. On the first down play, Enos. He is trapped at the line of scrimmage and gets very little out of it. Number 94, Mike Vrabel, is down under the pile.
Here's a look at this Buckeye defense. In the Big Ten, they lead in passing and total defense, and on the right, they're 6th in 3 different categories. I mentioned 10 starters back from last year.
Second down and 9 at the 39. Show blitz. Can't penetrate. Gone away. Pass is downfield, and it is incomplete. Corey Jones, the intended receiver. Winfield covered him. We checked in with Lynn Swan.
After Greg Belisari has a sprained knee, and the word I'm getting here is that they're in the process of evaluating it. But as I watch him on the sideline, he seemed to be walking pretty good. Right now, they're taping it up. But again, it's a continuing evaluation of a sprained knee. Keith?
Thank you, Swanee. 52 seconds left to play in the first quarter. 10-0 Ohio State.
Penn State 0 of 2 on third down conversion.
They'll throw it. Whip it out there very quickly, and it is not good enough for the first down. He went to Nastasi in a hurry, and Winfield played him well and gets a slap on the helmet from his teammates. And Penn State will be looking at fourth down.
It was 3rd and 9, and they threw a 5-yard route, Keith. If you do that, your timing better be just perfect so you can get the ball to the wide receiver and let him run some and break a tackle. If it's not good, the timing, you need to throw it past the first down yardage.
John Springs backs up, kind of looking up into the sun now as Kenya comes in to punt it. Darrell has 42 and 39 on his first 2 kicks today. This is a better one. It's a very good one. And it's in the end zone. It'll come out to the 20, where it'll be first down for the Buckeyes as we go to the final seconds, 3 of them, in fact, of the first quarter. Again, the big score from Evanston today with 13 seconds to play. Northwestern kicks a field goal and beats Michigan 17-16. They scored all 17 points in the fourth quarter. Of course, these 2 teams, Ohio State, 3rd in the nation, Penn State, 4th in the nation, they're undefeated. And on first down, final play of the first quarter. Stanley Jackson back looking to throw it. Goes down the middle with it, and it is incomplete, intended for Michael Wiley. Michael Wiley is one of the fastest men on the football field. The ball was behind him and short. If it's out in front, he might still be running.
Well, he's a true freshman. They had both true freshmen in there, Boston and Wiley. They got some speed.
After 1, 10-0, Buckeyes.
Plymouth Neon. Plymouth Breeze. Plymouth Voyager. Plymouth Prowler.
Al, what are you doing?
When you're choosing a name for your baby, you want one you'll feel good about for a long, long time. It's the same when you're choosing life insurance for yourself. You want something that will endure. When you go with State Farm, you get a life insurance company that has always received the highest possible ratings for financial strength. Which means State Farm is one name that'll sound just as good when your kids are grown up as it does today. State Farm understands life.
It's country driving. It's fancy coat and tie. Ooh, it's the football team, your beauty queen. It's why we're right nearby. And best of all, it's thrifty, renting cars in your neighborhood. Ooh, best of all, it's thrifty, coming through like you knew we would.
Conversation between the Penn State quarterback, Wally Richardson, and the coach upstairs. Trying to sort things out here and find a way to get some points scored. The Buckeyes, 2nd down and 10 from their 20-yard line, leading 10-0. We go to the second quarter. Pepe Pearson, the deep man. And Stanley Jackson back to throw. Has time, goes down the middle, has his man, and he just flat dropped it. David Boston, the freshman from Humble, Texas. Here's Lynn Swan.
Thank you, Keith. I'm with our cousins, the men over here from Game Day over at ESPN. And Chris, in the course of Game Day, you got a long afternoon and evening. You get a chance to see some great football teams.
I never complain, Swanee. We've done 20 of these road shows. Nothing better than this. This is close to perfection. If you're a fan, you have to see this place once, I think.
And I'm sure Kurt thinks it's great perfection because you went to school here, Kurt.
Oh, this is great. A fact that Penn State came into this game as underdog, I thought would play to their... They're playing good football. They're playing good football.
We'll come back after this play.
3rd down and 10. Jackson again has some time, but now he throws, and it's good for the first down if he had not reached the line of scrimmage, and he had not. David Boston finally got enough fingers on it to hold it in front of Shenon Prater, and Shino brought him down. Here's Swanee again.
All right, Kurt, had to be quite an honor. Your dad plays football here. He was the honorary team captain today.
Yeah, he was excited. I think he was more nervous than he was as a player. I saw him before he walked right by me. I shook his hand. He's like, just get away from me. I'm here to play.
I know he picked Ohio State. Who'd you pick today, Coach?
I picked Ohio State, and I think the difference is Stanley Jackson. His ability to evade pressure. I think he's going to be the difference between these two football teams.
I know you're not. I know you're happy you're not the homecoming game here.
Well, I usually was the homecoming, but I'll tell you what. I'm glad I'm on the sideline this time on Ohio State, not the other side, because they did exactly the same thing to me. They beat me up front physically.
Orlando Pace, an awesome football player.
I tell you what he does best. He keeps his feet better than any big man I've ever seen play college football.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I never want to be in this way. Guys, thank you very much. Keith?
All right, Swanee, Pepe Pearson carried on the last play. As we come to 14 minutes to go in the first half and put the football at the 37-yard line where it's 2nd down and 5. Stanley Jackson, incidentally, is 5 out of 10 for 102 yards and a touchdown. Pearson's almost hit in the backfield. That was a heck of a try. Didn't quite work by Courtney Brown, a freshman from Alvin, South Carolina.
Look at the numbers after the first quarter. The big number, total yardage in favor of Ohio State, almost 100 yards more. The other number that's not up there is 3rd down conversion. Penn State is 0 of 3, and Ohio State 2 of 4.
These kids have, we have heard on the play is Clint Cease. He's leaving the field for the moment, a sophomore from Thorndale, Pennsylvania. But these kids, this Courtney Brown, he came flying like he fell out of a cloud. I mean, they're just throwing themselves
Well,
around.
he's a backup defensive end, and when he gets in there, he wants to go all out.
3rd down, long 2. Jackson swings it out there. That's a good pass to Pepe Pearson. Thrown in the right place with some zip on it, and he's able to make the catch and make the run and pick up the 1st down.
I'm impressed with Stanley Jackson. He didn't play a lot last year. Bobby Hoying was here. Now he steps in and doesn't miss a beat. Backup quarterback Joe Germain, the same thing. And I think one of the key hires by John Cooper, Keith, was Walt Harris, the quarterback coach that he brought in last year. And this offensive system, the team just kind of exploded. He had 3 #1 draft choices that we've talked about, and Heisman Trophy winner. And Joe Hollis is the offensive coordinator, done a good job. But the quarterback coach, Walt Harris, has really cemented this whole offense.
You got a double tight end alignment as Jackson goes back to throw. The pressure's coming. He steps away from it, pulls it down, and tiptoes up for about a yard pickup. He got away from Mac Morrison. Mac Morrison is a freshman from Port Orchard, Washington, and he is the first player ever from the state of Washington to play for Joe Paterno. And being a Washington State graduate, I don't know what he's doing at State College.
How did he get out of there, right? Well, Penn State's got a lot of their second-line defensive players in there. Morrison is 31. You're going to see number 90, Wedderburn, coming into your picture right there. He was an outstanding prospect a few years ago, and this is his first game playing.
His first collegiate action. He's 6'5", 319 pounds, but he's been hurt ever since he got to campus. Go up a knee. 2nd down and 9. Here's Jackson. Got a lot of room. He gets a block. He'll make it big. He's got the 1st down. He puts it on the Penn State 38-yard line.
From behind the Penn State defense, it's a pass, but he sees everybody covered. He's broken containment. And this is the thing that Jackson will do this year that Bobby Hoying would not do last year. He'd just kind of sit back and wait to throw the ball. Jackson's willing to run it.
Mark it inside the 38 and 1st down for the Buckeyes. And Jackson getting pressure, fumbles the ball. And I think Ohio State recovered it. 93 had a shot at it for Penn State. But number 57 was in on the ball, LaShawn Daniels, to keep it for Ohio State. Penn State changed their entire defensive unit. The 2nd unit went off the field. The 1st unit came back, and lo and behold, they get enough penetration and knock the ball out of Jackson's hand.
Well, this is the 4th possession of the game, and Jerry Sandusky, the defensive coordinator, wants to get some of the other younger players in there to give his starters a breather.
Coming up on 11.5 minutes to go in the first half. Matt Keller is your fullback, single back right now. They give it to him. And he runs it down to the 30-yard line. Matt Keller is a redshirt freshman from Mason, Ohio.
One of the other players that is not here for this Ohio State offense is Nicky Sualua, who was the fullback and would have been playing in place of Keller. But Sualua is academically ineligible and was really a good blocker and a good receiver. They just seem to have a lot of players here at Ohio State, Keith. They just keep filling in with.
3rd down and 2. Pearson is the deep back. He's got the ball. He's coming left. That's where Orlando Pace works. But Penn State stacks it, and Mark Tate makes the tackle, and it is 4th and 2.
Mark Tate is a cornerback, only 177 pounds. And if you're going to play corner for Penn State, you're going to be able to tackle.
Buckeyes are going for it on 4th and 2.
So look at Tate.
This might be a pretty good sized moment, this ball game right here. Jackson's going to throw. He got it, and he hits Demetrius Stanley right on the number. Brian Miller made the hard tackle, but it's 1st down, Ohio State.
Right up here is the yardage marker. That's all you have to get. He's just going to go down and hook about 5 yards. See, as the corner is playing off of him, he just throws a little hitch route. Go down 5 yards, get the 1st down. Stanley tries to break the tackle, make a little bit more, but Miller gets a piece of it.
He's caught 4 for 71 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Ball is at the 24-yard line. Up man, Calhoun, 237-pound senior. And he's tripped up right about the line of scrimmage.
Keith, you go back to that last play. If it's 4th and 2, that's almost like a gift. If you've got a big cushion like Miller had on that last play. I mean, that's one of the first things a quarterback will see when he comes to the line of scrimmage. If the corner's playing off, just throw a little hitch. Pick up 5 yards.
2nd down and 10. Keller's back in and Calhoun out. As the fullbacks seem to be the messengers. Jackson back.
Tight end.
Touchdown, Buckeyes.
Saw the tight end going down the middle, but watch the fullback as he comes down and runs to the inside.
Nobody laid a hand on him. 24 yards for the touchdown, and here's Josh Jackson for the extra point. Good. 9:03 to play in the 1st half. They'll whooping it up at the Horseshoe. 17-0 Bucks.
Nelson, 44, being blocked by the back. Jackson looks deep, comes off to the short man. It's hitting on all cylinders right now.
When it's time for routine service, the name you know best is all you need to know. It's the name that stands for GM-trained technicians, the right tools and equipment, and genuine GM parts. It's the name for people who know your GM vehicle better than the rest. GM Good Wrench Service, the best name in the business.
Here we go.
You fill me with passion, like an old sweet song.
Cold will sneak into your house anywhere it can, but Owens Corning has a lot of ways to make cold feel most unwelcome. Like our pink fiberglass and rigid foam insulation, house wrap, and windows. Together they're on guard all around the house to keep comfort in and cold out. After all, There's a system to these things. Owens Corning. System thinking for the home.
Tuesday on a special night, a primetime interview everyone will be talking about. The cop who changed the O.J. Simpson trial, Mark Furman, breaks his silence. Primetime Tuesday.
That's a lot of activity, a long drive with no mistakes as Ohio State scores to make it a 17-0 lead. Papey Fields and Chris Campbell waiting for Andy Stamp's kick. This is a better kick. Goes back into the end zone. Fields is, is he on the line? No. He just stopped. Just barely.
Oh, barely is right.
Oh. Next Saturday live at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Great lineup of ABC's college football games, regional action. The Wisconsin Badgers will be right here in Columbus against Ohio State. Fifth-ranked Pac-10 surprise Arizona State against UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Oklahoma, Texas down in the Cotton Bowl. And Alabama against NC State.
Should I go? Should I not? Oh! The redshirt freshman.
It's first down at the 20. Wally Richardson. And there was pressure all the way. Number 13, Damon Moore, comes in and ties up Curtis Enos and drops him for a yard loss. But there was pressure. It seemed the ball was almost late coming off the snap. Wally Richardson might have been lucky to get away with it and pull back from it. But there was pressure coming. Up at the top of the picture, one of the red shirts is head hunting. Belisari has returned to the Ohio State lineup. Nastasi is the man in motion, and Richardson's pass is thrown over Nastasi's head and out of bounds, incomplete.
Well, the passing game for Penn State has suffered this year. Part of the reason, Wally Richardson only completing 51%, averaging 135 yards a game. He's thrown 5 interceptions this year. All of last year, he completed 58% and threw for only 6 interceptions all year. He only has 5 this year. 4 of 10 with 31 yards so far in this ball game here today.
Wally wants some conversation with the coaching staff on the sidelines. He calls time. 8:21 to play, first half.
The way I see it, coaching against this Leon kid must be like sitting on a tack. Got your offense stymied, your defense bamboozled. What can you do? And just when you figure things can't get any worse, guess who shows up to return the punt? Prime time. Oh, brother. Anyway, take it from me, forget your fancy sports drink and get yourself some bicarbonate of soda.
I blame my father's death on the thin rope. My grandfather's too. In the tightrope walking, wider rope is more stable. The crowds, though, they want thin. But I tell you, wider is better.
Introducing the new Wide Track Grand Prix. Its wheels are set wide for better balance, tighter grip.
I tell you from experience, più largo e meglio.
The new Wide Track Grand Prix from Pontiac. Wider is better.
College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And Domino's Pizza, who introduces their newest crust sensation, Roma Herb Crust Pizza. The ball rests at the 19-yard line. It is 3rd and 11 for Penn State, their own 19. Curtis Enos and Jason Slode. It's Slode now, the single back. That says pass. There's that little pop. Jurevicius. And Joe will have a first down for the Nittany Lions as he gets it over the 30 just barely.
The first reception for Jurevicius today, Keith. Sean Springs has been shadowing him here. Here's the matchup. Right here, he's just going to run a little slant to the inside. Number 24, Springs, tries to get up and jam him late. Releases inside, short of the first down, and runs for enough yardage. That's the first third down conversion today for the Nittany Lions.
He sort of rubbed him off, rubbed Springs off.
He's big enough he can do that.
Yep. First down at the 31. And this is Enos throwing the ball downfield for Nastasi. Joe turned inside. The ball was thrown outside. It is incomplete as Kelly covered. And here's 20.
Well, Keith, you're talking about Wally Richardson and his productivity going down from last year. I think one of the big reasons is he doesn't have receivers who make plays for him like he did last year. Jurevicius comes up with a big player in this series, but they're not consistently getting the kind of output that they had from Freddie Scott and Bobby Ingram. And the only person who's doing that for him is Curtis Enos. So what he has to have is the receivers come up with some more big plays. Keith?
All right, 20, you ought to know. You've been there.
Yes, sir.
Second down. Richardson is down inside the 25 at the 24. Mike Vrabel, number 94, the 260-pound senior from Akron, just wouldn't quit, and he finally got it.
A little play action, a little counter move. Vrabel's coming from the right side. Vrabel's not worrying about any running play. He's worrying about pass rush all the way. Number 94, the leading sacker all time for Ohio State. That's number 29 for Vrabel.
Third down and 16. Inside, Pincus puts the heat on, gets the ball away to Aaron Harris. And Harris is down at the 30-yard line, and a penalty flag comes. So Dick Honig, the referee, will define it. Harris is shaken up on the play.
I think it's a late hit by one of the offensive players, Keith.
They're talking to Aaron right now. The officials are having a conference. Maybe there's a double foul here. Let's see.
There is no foul on the play.
No foul. The Penn State man is still down on the field. So let's check in with John Saunders for a moment.
Keith, Virginia started the season on a roll. They have yet to lose and facing Georgia Tech down 13-0. Tiki Barber goes behind the blocking and punches it across. 13-7 now, Virginia on the board. We'll keep you up to date. Keith, right back to you.
Well, Virginia had a huge game against Texas, didn't they?
I think the gap in the ACC, Keith, between Florida State and the others in that conference is narrowing.
Oh, I think it is, too. There's that figured to be a tough ball game. It's in Manhattan, Kansas, and K-State's kind of hard to handle down there. California's still leading USC 7-0 in the second quarter. And look at that. Auburn
could be upset Saturday.
Yeah, it could be. There's always one Saturday, you know that? There's always one weekend. It's just full of them.
And I don't think you call Northwestern upsetting Michigan a big upset, but I think a mild one.
Yep, I think so. It's out. That's a pretty good kick there. Sean Springs waiting for Kenya's rocket. And he has a little room. He has a lot of room. And he brings it back across midfield, and Darrell Kenya, the punter, is the man that finally shoved him out of bounds. So Sean Springs was on a show 38-yard return.
This is the Pontiac Bonneville, one of the world's most powerful sports sedans. The luxury of the Driver's Command Center surrounds you with 12-way adjustable seats, steering wheel stereo controls, and a powerful supercharged engine, which makes it tough to get a good long look. So we're offering this free video information kit by calling 1-800-443-4444. Just call 1-800-443-4444.
Drug and alcohol abuse has become so common that most of us know someone who is a user.
Maybe that someone is a classmate. Maybe he or she is a relative or a friend. Maybe that someone is you.
If you're involved in substance abuse, it's not too late to stop. There are programs and people in your community who are ready to help, if you're willing to help yourself.
Think about it. If you stop using drugs and alcohol,
you can stop wasting your money, your friendships, and your life.
When you come to a great university like Ohio State, you think about the fact that you can, on any given day, go to our Wexner Center, which is one of the great contemporary art centers in this country. One can go and see dance and theater. One can go and see pretty good football and a variety of other things. One can connect with friends on an intellectual basis so that you can really discover the world as other people are seeing it.
A Marriott moment here. Take us back 1 year. We're at Happy Valley. Penn State's leading Ohio State 25-21. Bob Hoying hooks up with Ricky Dudley. That puts the ball late in the ball game on the State 13. Lions hunker down for defense, but Eddie George slashes in, and the Buckeyes win it 28-25. What a ball game. Joe Germain comes in, transfer from Scottsdale Community College. On 96, he's 17 out of 23 for 334 yards and 5 touchdowns.
No interceptions.
Pretty good.
Doesn't move around as well as Stanley Jackson. More of a pocket passer. Stanley has a good game going for himself.
So Germain in to get his work in the first half. A little delay, handoff to Pepe Pearson. Look at that. Tell you what, that Pearson's, he may not be so big, but he's pretty tough. He just literally stepped out of the arms of Brandon Short.
Now, Germain is not in there because of anything that Stanley did wrong. It's just that they've both played all year. In fact, here is a combination between the two of them. 70% completion, 873 yards. They've only thrown 1 interception. That's the quarterbacking combo of Jackson and Germain.
Pepe Pearson now has 62 yards on 13 carries. And it's first down. Ball on the 34-yard line of Penn State, and Germain shoots it. Touchdown, Stanley. That's the second touchdown for Demetrius Stanley. That kind of work, Joe Germain won't, he'll be back on the bench. Didn't take him very long.
Well, it's kind of easy to come in when you're up 17-0 and start throwing.
Kick by Josh Jackson is good. 6 to go in the first half, and it's now 24-0 Buckeyes.
ABC Saturday. Luther's never read a book in his life. Now he's writing one on failure.
It's going to make you look like a loser.
I am a loser, hey? Coach. Then the press is all over Common Law's Greg Giraldo.
What do you think the Hispanic men just want to drink beer and stand on the hood of their Chevys all day doing the Macarena until they find a cute blonde who's looking for a hot Latin lover?
John.
I'll be right there.
They're TV's hottest new lawyers.
Steam rose off Dahlia's Downey. No calls.
Greg Giraldo in Common Law.
Saturday on ABC.
Let's go back and take a look. Here's the wide receiver down here on the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and run it. Watch him as he's going to run a little post in between. It's a 3-deep zone right between the two defensive backs. A nice, good, quick release. Touchdown for the Buckeyes.
Well, that's the second bad kick that Andy Stamp has had today. This one goes out of bounds, and the Buckeyes will take it up on the 35.
Well, here you go. Take a look on this. Tate, 33, has got the outside position. Supposed to get some help from the safety. This is just good execution. safety couldn't get there. The corner was where he was supposed to be. The good thing that happened there is the quarterback, Jermaine, looked away, looked to free safety to the right side of the field to hold him in the middle, and then came back and fired to the left side. I got to give credit to Walt Harris, the quarterback coach. They weren't doing that here a couple of years ago, Keith.
Put it on the 35, make it first down for the Nittany Lions, who have dug themselves a pretty good hole here in this first half. They're down 24-0 with 6:26 to go. And Wally Richardson now settles down. Ohio State's got a 5-man front up there. Richardson back to throw it, lets it go, intended for Stassi. That's good defense by Sean Spring. Now we're going to spend a moment with John Thunder.
Keith, Cal's opened some eyes this year. They have yet to lose, facing USC, 4th and 1 at the 12. Pat Barnes to Tony Gonzalez, who had just dropped one in the end zone. He holds on to this one. They missed the point after, and Cal's lead now 13-0. Keith.
Well, you know, there was 4 of those players, including Russell, the big tackle, that were suspended for a game because of the shoe-swapping gig out there. I would imagine there's they're getting a little discouraged. You know, all that stuff going on all the time. That pass is thrown right into the hands of Curtis Enos, but he can't handle it, and it'll be an incomplete forward pass. But that goes on and on and on, Bob. Eventually wears you out.
Yes, it does. Take a look at Penn State. First half, that's not what you want to see if you're on the offensive side of the ball for Penn State, or if you're one of the coaches of defense, if they're a fan. That's just not very good offense. Randy Gambler right there talking to Joe.
Those guys have been together for so long, you think their minds almost run together. Here's a good pass, though. It's late. He was thrown over the left shoulder or the trailing shoulder of Enos, and he couldn't make the catch.
It's pressure defense, Keith. What Ohio State is doing, they're blitzing the linebackers, playing man coverage. You know, all the offenses have been dominating in college football the last few years. You're seeing more and more teams be more aggressive on defense, and that's what Ohio State is doing this year.
5th punt now for Darrell Kenya. His last one was a beauty, 53 yards, but he outkicked his coverage, and Sean Springs brought it back 38. That's a low liner, and Springs will let it go. Well, that cost him 15 yards. If he makes the catch, he's probably sitting up around the 32-33. You might have a knot on him, but instead the ball is down on the 13.
Go back and look at that defensive last play, Keith. Belisari, number 30, back in the game. He's one of the linebackers that's blitzing up. He's just being ready to do whatever he can, being blocked. The other linebacker blitzing up the other side. Tight coverage, a lot of blitzing. Got to hand it to Freddie Pugic, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State. He brought in this. They said they're having more fun. They're more aggressive defensively, putting more pressure on the quarterback.
Joe Germain is in there at quarterback now on the 11-yard line, and the Buckeyes take over. Hands it to Pepe Pearson, and he's down at the 9, so there'll be a loss of a couple of yards as Penn State got some defensive penetration to make the play. Well, it'll be on the 10, so it's a loss of a yard. 2nd and 11.
We showed you the possessions for Penn State. They had punted all 5 times. It's a little bit different looking at the Buckeyes. They've scored 4 of their 5 possessions and 3 TDs. And John Cooper may not look like it, but you know he's smiling inside.
Inside 5.5 to go in the first half. 24-0 Ohio State. This is Pearson trying to get around the corner. Number 24 got over there in a hurry, Sean Lee, and stopped him.
By Sean Lee.
So the Buckeyes will be looking at 3rd and long.
If you're a Penn State fan, what you're looking for here from the defense is a turnover, something to create something good for your offense where they won't have to go the whole length of the field. They've played 5 games as Penn State, and they had 12 takeaways, so they've always been good at it.
3rd and 9. Jermaine gets the ball away to Pearson. Pearson has Aaron Collins to beat. Goes out of bounds at about just short of the 20. And that is short of a first down, and the Buckeyes are going to have to punt it away on 4th and
It's a nice play by Aaron Collins to get out there one-on-one on Pepe Pearson and make that play.
Well, they want to measure because they gave him the spot where the ball rolled out of bounds. That'll be up around the 21. Did not appear that he had reached it, but you never know from this angle. Stretch it out. He got it. How about it? I thought he was out of bounds before the ball went out of bounds, but I guess not. Four and a half minutes to go in the first half. Big Lumpkin, number 85, 6'8", 270 pounds. How would you like to have had a target like that?
I loved it. Big target.
Pearson and Keller in the backfield for the Buckeyes. Jermaine, a little delay, give it to Pepe. And he's at the 30. At the 9-yard pickup. Warwick Dunn is another one of those slashers running back. Leads a strong Florida State team as they welcome the Tigers of Clemson into Tallahassee tonight. That might be a cookout. Clemson and Florida State at 7 Eastern, only on ESPN.
Florida State seems to have everything going for them except the production at the quarterback position.
Yep, so far.
So far.
Pearson in motion. Leaving the fullback to single back. That normally reads pass. Jermaine's pass is away down the middle of the field and right on the hands of Michael Wiley. And the freshman from Spring Valley, California, does not reel it in. And his failure to catch the ball is the only thing that keeps him from scoring a touchdown.
Exactly. He's a freshman, and he's in here learning. He's going to go straight down the field in between the safeties. Got him spread out from sideline to sideline. It's a good read by Jermaine and a good throw. I mean, when he sees this, and when he's sitting there with his other peers and his receivers and coaches, he's just a freshman. He's got all kinds of talent. He's going to be a big play guy for Cooper. John says those guys need to get in and get some experience. They've got the big playability.
Joe Montgomery is the deep back. That's a pretty good lick. You know that? On third down, Montgomery just lowers a shoulder and picks up the first down.
And they're running left, and number 75 to the right of your screen, 75. See where he delays. He lets the other man commit. 35 is Cease, and he's just ceasing to hold his ground there. 235 pounds is Cease. He's outweighed by 95 pounds by the,
at least,
Orlando Pace.
On the 38 now, first down, Keller and Montgomery are the backs. That's Montgomery in motion. Jermaine back, pressure coming, pass away. Pass is incomplete, intended for Demetrius Stanley. Jermaine got it away and almost completed it, despite the fact he was about to have a wall fall on him.
A wall.
He got belted pretty good.
Yeah. Look at this total yardage in the first half. 303 yards for Ohio State, only 67 for the Lions.
And we've got 3:01 to go in the first half. To the sidelines and over the head of Demetrius Stanley. He was pretty well covered that time by Brian Miller.
For sure. Miller was all over and no place to throw it anywhere else, and he did the smart thing in just firing it out of bounds.
I'm going to help Michael Wiley. Michael, I want to give you a little excuse here. From that position down there, looking back to where the ball was coming from, he's looking right into the sun.
This kid must be from California. Must be one of your... must be a neighbor or something out there.
My goodness, look what the Golden Bears are doing. 16-0 over the Trojans. Wow. Third down and 10. Jermaine loops it out, and it is incomplete, intended for Montgomery. It was a forward pass. This is the first possession in the ball game in which Ohio State has not crossed midfield. But not necessarily the fault of Jermaine, who had a second touchdown in his pocket. Bartholomew is in to punt. His first one today was a 28-yarder. Well, he didn't get anything out of that one either.
That's a shank, if they've ever seen one, Keith.
Sounded like he blew a tire. At the 46-yard line, a moment with John Saunders.
Coming up on Valvoline Halftime 96, we'll have all the day's scores and highlights. Plus, we'll hear from Troy Davis of Iowa State and Todd Blackledge, already working hard behind the scenes, getting ready with the scores and highlights. It's all coming up on Valvoline Halftime 96.
That was only a 16-yard punt by Brent Bartholomew. I sense he might be on the practice field tomorrow. Chafee Fields is now in the backfield, number 2, redshirt freshman from Philadelphia. Richardson throws over the head of the intended receiver, Jason Slode, the fullback, trying to set up a screen on that side, and it was over his head. So the Penn State offense has been missing a wheel.
The screen's going to be trying to set up here. Now watch the true freshman, Bartholomew, the linebacker. He's playing his keys. He's going to be right out there in his pocket. It's tough to screen against man-to-man coverage for that reason right there. The linebacker is looking at his coverage, and when he goes out to see the screen, the linebacker should be out there.
Penalty flag thrown on the field, and we haven't had many, but it may have been young John Blick, a 336-pound freshman tackle who moved.
False start on the offense. 5 yards, still second down.
You got to look at big number 78. I mean, you flat can't miss him. When he walks into the stadium, it tilts. And he's a baby. He's going to be something.
It is Blick and not Blimp.
Hey, he's a big one. Second down and 15. Richardson's pass is thrown to the sidelines and incomplete. Jurib Vicious was in the general neighborhood, but show was Sean Springs.
The architect of this defense, Keith, is Fred Puggich right there. He was a tight end at Ohio State a while back, went into the NFL for a while and has come back, and he was on the Woody Hayes staff. Earl Bruce kept him on, and now John Cooper's kept. And when Bill Young went to Oklahoma, they elevated Puggich, and he's changed it a little bit, made it more aggressive, man-to-man coverage. And it seems to be working. Of course, he had a veteran defense to work with, too.
Richardson throws it, and it is incomplete. Joe Nastasi was headed toward the corner.
But he wasn't looking.
Nope.
I mean, that's this. I mean, Richardson threw the ball, and the receiver wasn't even looking. They're just crossed up here somewhere.
Well, John Cooper told us yesterday that the kids love Puggich. He gets down and rolls around with them.
Oh, yeah.
Little pinch here and there, and he yells and hollers and stomps and hunkers down with them. They love it.
Well, they're a veteran group, too. They've been around for a long time.
Here's the punt by Kenya. It's a good kick. Sean Springs at the 12. Gets it back to the 20. And that's a pretty good punt of 47 yards with an 8-yard return. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half. And the Buckeyes get it back. And who's the quarterback for this series? Stanley Jackson.
You know, Joe's teams have never been a come-from-behind type of team. Maybe a couple of years ago when he had Kerry Collins and all those great offensive players. But he's back to the old style, and that is run and mix the run with the pass.
Here comes Stuffy. Crosses the 30, and that's a first down at the 31.
You know, this is the first time we're seeing Ohio State this year, Keith, and we really didn't know whether they were for real. Played Rice. Pittsburgh is down this year, so they shut both of those teams out. They beat Notre Dame last week, which told us they were a pretty good ball club, but I'm very impressed. The defense is solid. Their offense has replaced a lot of people, and it just didn't seem to have missed a beat.
Pearson on the first down carry will add one more yard to make it 83 now. Pepe's closing in on 100 yards. But I tell you what, I don't believe that you can play an entire Big Ten schedule and carry the ball 30 times a game.
Talking about Pepe Pearson.
Pepe, yeah.
I understand. It's a physical league. It's not, you know, you never have enough good running backs, and you're going to need to have another one to take the pounding.
Jackson's pass is a little bit behind Demetrius Stanley. Oh, Demetrius he could have had 4 touchdowns today. Really. Here's Lynn Swann.
Well, Keith, you're talking about Pepe Pearson. I took a little time to talk to Tim Spencer, who is a running backs coach here, and I asked him about his durability. He said his greatest asset is his speed. And he says during the course of the ball game, he will watch him to see what kind of contact he makes when he's going through the line. He said if he's getting hit a lot before he gets in that secondary, he'll keep track of it and try and get him out and give him a rest. But he understands how this Big Ten works because he was a back here for Ohio State, isn't it?
He's a good one, too. Jackson has all day and now lets it go deep down the sidelines, and it is incomplete. D. Miller trying to go up and get it.
Well, we talked about in the opening, the common denominator from this offense from last year to this year was the offensive line. They just gave him all day to throw the football. It was almost embarrassing as a quarterback. He says, geez, I got all this time. There's nobody I can complete it to. He had all that time, and he didn't complete the pass. There was nobody open.
Well, now Brent Bartholomew has 28 yards on the first punt, 16 yards on the second one.
Well, he doesn't punt very much.
He's becoming an adventure here.
He's out of practice.
But he can crank it up once in a while anyway. Good coverage downfield. And that'll go down as a 45-yard punt, 2-yard return. Tackle made by Central McClellan on Chris Campbell. 24-0. Ohio State leading Penn State with 1:16 to go in the first half. We're in Columbus, Ohio. Beautiful fall day. It was cold yesterday, but it's warmed up.
I guess it's pretty nice weather all across most of the country. A lot of the football games will have this kind of weather.
Enos and Slode are in the backfield for Penn State. The offense has just been shut
I've never
down.
seen that. The right guard went over and asked the left guard what to do.
Oh, this is trouble city for Corey Jones. They're trying to run a little flanker reverse with Jones, and the Buckeyes just ate it up.
Well, you run a reverse when you think you can fool this man over here. When you know you're going to run a reverse this way, then you try and fool the other end if he's trailing the play real hard. They didn't fool anybody. You got to block solid up front first, and then you got to fool somebody.
That big old Winfield Garnett, 305 pounds, is occupying the middle of the road.
Very frustrating for Fran Ganter, the offensive coordinator, and the offensive coaches.
On second down, they try to run it. They'll get a little bit out of it.
What's happened to Curtis Enos? Where is he in this ball game?
Well, they've stopped the run.
But they've taken him out of this game completely.
17 seconds, 16, running along here at 15 seconds, and they stopped the clock with 15 seconds to play.
Curtis
in the first half.
8 carries, 27 yards. If you want to know what Curtis Enos is doing today.
Well, we started the day by saying the theme of the game was stop the run. And obviously Ohio State has done that.
Penn State has not, but Ohio State has really gone and taken advantage of the fact that they're trying to stop the run, single coverage, and they've thrown some passes to take advantage of it and really are hurting them with the pass more than the run.
The ball rests on the 19-yard line. The scoring, in case you're just joining us, came in the first quarter as Demetrius Stanley hooked up with Stanley Jackson for 42 yards and a touchdown. And then a 30-yard field goal from Josh Jackson, 10-0. Second quarter, it was Keller, the fullback, down the middle to complete a 24-yard pass run play for a score. And then Stanley, a 34-yard touchdown reception down the middle from Joe Germain. So it's the New York Yankees have defeated the Texas Rangers 6-4, and the Yankees win that series in the American League playoffs 3-1.
How do you figure that? The Yankees have not played well in Arlington. Go out there and win the first two.
Well, the relievers let it get away from them the other night.
Yeah, that's right. And the Yankees, that's their strength, I guess.
Yep. It's third down and 16. This is Chafee Field. And Chafee Field, 195-pounder, gets it out across the 30 to about the 33. And stopping the clock. And let's spend a moment with Lynn Swan.
Thank you, Keith. Here at Ohio State University, there's a tradition that is also a great honor. Outside the stadium is Buckeye Grove, and one tree is planted if you attain All-America status. It goes back to 1916. Now, I'll guarantee you this. Orlando Pace might need a whole sidewalk, Keith, by the time he's finished.
Yeah, right. Bob Brzezinski, I played with him with the Dolphins. He's one of the linebackers that played here at Ohio State. These two teams have put out a lot of players, Keith. In fact, in the last 2 years, 27 players off of these two teams have been drafted, and 11 of them have been drafted in the first round.
On 4th and 2, the Buckeyes have no one deep. They're just going to let Kenya go ahead and kick it if, in fact, he's going to kick it, and he is. And they'll let it go. And it's going to roll around and go dead at about the 27, 28-yard line. And you've got time for one play, and more than likely they'll take a knee and go to the clubhouse to lead 24-0 at halftime.
Talking to John yesterday, he thought it would be a lot closer. He didn't think he'd be up. If we'd offered him 24-0 at halftime, he'd been smiling and taking it in a minute.
Of course, you know, the old saying goes, ain't over. If one can do it in a half, another one can do it in a half.
And you know that if anybody's going to come out and play hard the second half, it's a Joe Paterno coached football team, and that's what Cooper's got to sell his guys on.
But it sure is a big old hill to climb, I'll tell you that. Yeah, maybe they're going to try to do something. They don't just take a knee. They give it to Pepe Pearson, and he bounces outside, and he runs all the way to the 40-yard line. But that'll do the first half. So the Buckeyes have dominated the first half of play here at the Horseshoe in Columbus to lead by 24. Coming up, the Valvoline halftime 96. We're ready for the second half of play at the Horseshoe at Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio. The Buckeyes are leading Penn State 24-0. Mike Malfett will kick it off for the Buckeyes. Penn State will have the first possession to start the second half. There is a sign hanging on the wall in Fred Puggich's office that says a player's value can be measured by his distance from the football when the whistle blows.
Puggich, the defensive coordinator for the Buckeyes.
It has rung true in the first half because Penn State gained 75 total yards in the entire first half. It is Chafee Field. Whoa. Is he taken down at the 15-yard line? Number 5 shaken up for the Buckeyes.
Wiley.
It's Colson, I think it is. Colson. Double number. Here's Lynn Swan.
Well, Keith, I talked to Joe Paterno. I asked him what adjustments he'd make in the second half, and he says, well, you know, we're going to try and move the ball and dink it around a little bit, but the reality is this is a good football team at Ohio State, and they're beating us man on man. So what we got to do is try and outmaneuver them. So he's just going to try and put his team in good position to make something happen, Keith.
They'll start at the 17-yard line with Enos and Harris in the backfield. And Wally Richardson back to throw it. Unloads to Aaron Harris, and he picks up 11 yards on the first play of the second half.
Well, the first thing you do, Keith, is you don't lose your poise. And you realize that you can go out and play as well as you have been playing to get to this point. Penn State came in 5-0, playing very well. And they didn't score any points in the first half. Their defense played very poorly, but Joe needed to convince them that they could come out and get some things done.
First down at the 29-yard line.
Sure, their confidence is a little down right now, too.
Enos into the center. They chop him down after 2 yards.
Here's a look at the numbers of the first half. Look at the total yardage, 328 yards to 75. 50 plays to only 30. 19 first downs. Third down conversions, Penn State only converted 1 time.
Jerry Vicious at the bottom of your picture, the taller one. Springs comes over to cover him. They throw underneath to the short man in front of the linebackers, and the pass is caught by Keith Olsemer. It is about 9-yard pickup. Ty Howard came from the clubhouse wearing that brace. No pads, no helmet. He's finished for the day. And here's Swanner to tell you what.
Well, Keith, I talked to him as he came on the field. It's a high ankle sprain that he sustained, and the cast is precautionary. They want to hold him out to give him every chance to come back as quickly as possible. Keith?
They'll need him next week when Wisconsin comes to town. Here's Richardson on a roll. On 3rd and 1, he throws complete to Chris Campbell. And Campbell will put the ball on the Ohio State side of the field at the 47-yard line.
A big boost throwing-wise for the quarterback, Richardson. That was a tough throw. Not much going on offensively. Richardson only 8 of 20 for 68 yards. Enos was held down to 30 yards. The tight ends didn't catch a pass for Penn State in the first half. That one by Olsemer was the first one this game.
Buckeye defense may need to tighten the chin strap a little here. They dominated the first half.
Vrabel had the only sack.
But that's 29 career sacks, which is a school record for him. First down. They show blitz. They're coming. Richardson gets his pass away, and it is caught by the tight end Olsemer, and he'll have it at the 44 of Ohio State.
Taking a look at what happened in the first half, this tells you a lot about what happened. 7 possessions, 7 punts. They never had the ball more than 7 plays, and their field position was never better than the 46-yard line, but mostly they were all backed up. Not a very productive half if you're an offensive player for the Lions.
Second down and 7. Nastasi's in motion. Enos with the ball, and Enos is locked up by number 43, Ryan Miller. But Enos is a strong fellow to wrestle down. Miller had him high, and he'll get something on you if you got him high. Ball is at the 40. It is 3rd down and 3. Richardson lets it go, and it is incomplete. Coverage on the play by Antoine Winfield on Joe Nastasi. Winfield is the sophomore from Akron who's on the field at quarterback, replacing the injured Ty Howard.
Here's what I'm talking about. You got the wide receiver out here on this man and the wide receiver down at the bottom of your screen over here. And all of the rest of these players are inside. So the place to throw it is outside. The corners just have good coverage.
It is 4th down and 3, and the Lions are going for it. Over the middle. Pass is completed to Cruncho Brown. And Brown is in a wrestling match and will win it in that he gets his first down just short of the 35. Brown is 6'4", 257, a sophomore from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Cruncho needs to know to get down when he's open.
Yeah, there.
He didn't take all that punishment. There he is right here. He's going to be open. Watch how quickly he becomes open. But getting the ball quicker, Wally, right now. Get it. He's open. Now the man closed on him. They were fortunate to get the first down.
At the 35. Penn State with the opening possession of the second half, and they're moving it. Enos taken down at the line of scrimmage. Ryan Miller
made a hell of a play.
Winfield, Garnett. Now Winfield is 305 pounds. I mean, he's kind of like a dresser or a roadblock.
Enos came in averaging 138 yards a game.
He has 35 today on 11 carries. Throws it out to him. And he's belted out of bounds at about the 30. It'll be close to 4.5 yards.
Defense of Ohio State, Keith, just doing a nice job. They held Notre Dame to only 280 yards of total offense last week over in South Bend.
Make it a 3rd and 5. It's actually a little less than that, about 4.5. Harris is in the backfield with Enos.
Here they come.
He got it away, and he's got a man out there, and it is an incomplete forward pass as Sean Springs covers Joe Juravicius, and that has been a battle all day long.
Yeah, but watch Rob Kelly right here. Watch him as he's going to come right through. Doesn't show this is a safety blitz. Watch him as he comes down. Watch it right at the end. Just jumps in the air, gets in his face. Juravicius has caught one pass all day.
He was really squawking about that one.
Yeah, well, he may have had some right to be squawking.
Brett Conway has come on the field for Penn State. He's about to try a field goal and get the Lions on the board. He won the ball game with a 25-yarder at Madison, Wisconsin last week. This is a 47-yard try. He hits the upright. In goes outside. No good. It is amazing how many times place kickers hit the upright. Just absolutely amazing. Sometimes they bounce inside, sometimes they don't.
Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Good morning. This is your wake-up call. And this is the new Norelco Reflex Action Razor. Anything closer could be too close for comfort. A blade can leave you feeling irritated. What would possess it to do that? Introducing the Norelco Reflex Action Razor. A great shave with less irritation than blades.
That team across the field, show them Ohio's here. Big Ten powers collide when Wisconsin heads to Ohio State for a battle with the Buckeyes or other regional action next Saturday on ABC's College Football.
USC against Cal, and Cal doing it on defense as well now. DeLon Washington gets hit by Brandon Whiting. It looks like he might have been down at the 2, but they call it the fumble just the same. Nate Gelder recovers the ball in the end zone, and now Cal has added a field goal, 19-zip. They lead number 17 USC. Keith.
Well, you can see the Buckeyes are the big dog right now in the Big Ten, but it's early. Though they do not play Northwestern this year, nor do they play Michigan State this year. There might be some good in that for them. The ball is on the 30-yard line, and Stanley Jackson at quarterback hands it off to Pepe Pearson, and Pepe is going to have about 9 yards on that carry.
You cannot give up 9 yards
on first down.
On first down. I mean, this is a basic sweep. You've got to be able to turn this stuff back inside if Penn State defensively. The leaders, Jackson had a big half, 8 of 15, 138 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Pearson ran for 97 yards on 19 carries. Stanley, the leading receiver, with 105 yards and 2 touchdown receptions. Penn State Herring, the free safety, had 9 tackles, and Lee, the strong safety, had 8.
2nd and 1. They don't go for the big play. Give it to the fullback. And he falls, well, I think he's short of the 40, and that won't be a first down. Matt Calhoun, a 237-pounder.
Ohio State scored on their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th possessions.
And had 2 other opportunities for touchdowns that were dropped. 3rd and short yard. Jackson changing his play. Pearson stays in the backfield, has the ball, and dives across the 40-yard line and would appear to have the first down. Ohio State won its last national championship in 1968. The Buckeyes have not been to the Rose Bowl since 1984. It looked like last year they were on their way. And then the wall fell on them up at Ann Arbor against Michigan. They end the season with Michigan here, November 23. That's by a touch, by a ball, a first down.
Well, last year Cooper's team was 11-0, Keith. They were just tearing everybody up, remember?
Yep.
They went up to Michigan, across the state line up there, and just seemed to turn to mush, or an oatmeal, as you like to say.
Well, they also played in that kickoff classic last year. They'd had a long season, and they were just, there's nothing there. Jackson rolls it out, lets it go, incomplete, intended for Buster Tillman, and he takes a wallop on the sideline. But he gets up. Anthony King, a freshman defensive back for Penn State, busted him. Pepe Pearson has carried the ball 21 times today. He's picked up 108 yards, and it's the 16th consecutive Ohio State running back to run for over 100 yards. I mean, these guys just reload the cannon.
Well, yeah, and it's the offensive line that's there, too. They've always had some good ones.
Yep.
With Corey Stringer a few years back, he left school.
I'll go all the way back to John Hicks, Jim Parker, and those kind of guys. Jim Lachey. 2nd down and 10. This is Pearson bouncing to the outside and cuts it across the 45 and gets to the 46. He's got to go across midfield and close to the Penn State 49 to get his first down.
This kid's tough. He runs. He's a lot different type of back than Eddie George. Eddie George was 6'3" and 225 or 30 pounds. Pepe Pearson's only 5'10", about 205 pounds. He's a little quicker.
He doesn't look that big to me. He may be. 3rd and 4. Can't get it. There's that King again. Anthony King.
By that freshman King, yes. Penn State has had 13 true freshmen play this year already, and 13 redshirt freshmen. That's more than than Joe Paterno can ever remember using at that school. He's using more freshmen than he ever has in the past.
Bartholomew now for his 4th punt of the day. The last one was a 45-yarder. That's another good one. And kicks in and through the end zone. It'll come back out to the 21st down, 54 yards on the punt.
Being a parent is all about being there, whether it's a homecoming game or something as important as a college education. State Farm understands that. That's why State Farm Life Insurance makes sense. It's a smart way to help secure your children's future if something ever happened to you. See your State Farm agent for life insurance that's right for your family. It'll help make sure that all your dreams will be protected, like helping your children realize theirs.
State Farm understands life.
Perfect for any game, Domino's has the perfect play. Choose from 3 delicious crusts. There's classic hand-tossed, crunchy thin crust, or go deep with thick ultimate deep dish. So make the call and have it all.
For hot and wild, call Domino's. Now!
Call now and try our new Roma herb crust or any large one-topping pizza for $9.99. Any second one-topping pizza, just $4.99.
The Chevy S10 Sports Side. The coolest thing to come on the back of a truck since the Nutty Buddy. Chevy S10 Sports Side, like a rock.
College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. Penn State to the ball now, first down at their own 20-yard line, trailing 24-0. 7:57 to go in the 3rd quarter. Enos and Slode behind Wally Richardson. They continue to throw the ball, throw it behind Slode, and the ball goes out of bounds. And let's get an update on Nebraska now from John.
Keith, Nebraska and Kansas State, and it's mostly been a defensive struggle, but first down at the 31, D'Angelo Evans fights through a couple of tackles into the open field, and forget it, he's gone 69 yards on this touchdown run as Nebraska putting up a little offense, 25-3. Keith.
That's another one of those freshmen.
Yeah. Nebraska may regroup, and if everybody that's undefeated now gets a loss, they may be right back up there, Keith, to get in that fight.
That pass is completed to Curtis Enos, but he's taken down on a quick, sharp hit before he can get himself turned upfield and do some serious damage. That's Damon Moore that put the hit on him. Number 13 right there. He is an impressive sophomore.
Ooh. Well, they had 10 starters, and he replaced one of the starters at strong safety. Gwynn was a starter last year. Now he's a backup, so Moore really came on.
Fickle gets a hold of Richardson and turns him upside down, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Aaron Harris. So Big Luke got his hit, and Penn State will have to punt.
Got to give credit to Fred Puggich and his defensive staff for the game plan. They're just coming out here playing solid defense, solid and aggressive. There's a look at Freddie. Take off his sunglasses. We can get a look at him.
David Boston is waiting for the 8th punt of the day by Penn State's Kenya, and the freshman from Texas gets a little taste of the boys in the back room would call it a tattoo.
Coop's getting his freshman receivers out there, letting them get broke in a little bit, isn't he?
Yep, this one you'll hear a lot of him. Monday night on ABC, Annie Potts stars in Dangerous Minds, and AFC action. The clash in Kansas City as Pittsburgh goes to the Heartland to meet the Chiefs. Steve Bono having a pretty good year, though San Diego got him last week. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football at 8 Eastern here on ABC. Stanley Jackson. Anytime your quarterback is out there running around loose among the Buffalo, you worry about whether or not he can really roller skate, but Jackson could, and he's all right.
Well, he can roller skate all right. Joe Hollis was telling us yesterday that last year Jackson was the backup to Bobby Hoying, and Walt Harris, the quarterback coach, always gives him a test on Friday night before the game, and he did very poorly on the test. So he said, you're not playing, you're not ready to play, you haven't been preparing properly, so you're not going to play.
Pepe Pearson, that's another first down for Ohio State. So all of a sudden it just seems like those big guys up front said, hey, come on, little fellas, follow us.
Yeah.
And boom, here they go.
They're mostly following the left side and following pace, number 75. Watch, he never fires off the ball. Always takes a false step and then reacts. Says, who else can I block?
So on first down at the 48 of Penn State, Buster Tillman, the flankers in motion. And this is Pearson. He just kept sliding around in there, and he almost popped out. He got 9 yards on the carry. The crowd today is 94,241.
They got thoughts and ideas of expanding this stadium too, don't they, Keith?
Well, they talk about it every now and then. They would have to take out the track, and you know some of the people who have traveled around this track, given its legendary status, but it may go in time. And you
Take
go
the
all
track
the way
out.
back on and past Jesse Owen. Stanley Jackson looking around, finds Big Lumpkin, and says, here, John, here's a bullet right between the 8 and the 5, and it's first down. Hey, this kid's a pretty good-looking quarterback.
Yes, sir. Buckeyes came in averaging 18 yards per completion. Today, they 18 yards per completion, 3 TD passes. Jackson, anyway, so Jackson, they sent a message to Jackson last year. They set him down, says, you're not ready to play, you're not going to play. From that point on, he started studying the films, worked with the coaches during the summer, and got himself ready to play, and he's turned himself around. He's a very bright player.
And Pearson takes it inside the 25 to the 22, and we're off to John Saunders again.
Keith, it's time for the Burger King College Football Play of the Day, and it's in the Northwestern game. Brian Goins, 39 yards with 13 seconds remaining, part of 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter as Northwestern beats Lloyd Carr's squad 17-16.
Michigan's got to find some offense. They haven't had much this year. Well, that thing doesn't work for anything, does it? It's just right into the stack of white shirts. And Jim Nelson grabbed a hold of Pepe and said, the grass is nice to thump. Jackson on the day, Stanley that is, 10 of 18 for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ohio State down in 25-yard line, threatening, leading 24-0. Penn State had a pretty good little drive to start the second half of play.
They needed to convert that drive, Keith, to get a little momentum going, and they didn't do it. And now the Buckeyes are right back down on them.
Missed the field goal, hit the upright. Here's Jackson again now, looking into the end zone, and it's short. He's trying to beg his case, Demetrius Stanley, but back judge ain't having none of it. You know, Demetrius could have had another touchdown right there if that ball is up in front of him.
If the ball was thrown a little sooner too.
Yep.
Yeah, he had it. If he'd thrown it right now, he could have had it a little bit sooner. That ball comes in like a wounded duck. I think one of the offensive linemen, I don't know, he got his hands under it, but I think part of it hit the ground. I think one of his offensive linemen backed up into him.
It's 4th down and 8. And Ohio State's going to go for it.
Too long for a field goal.
Yep. Thrown underneath to the fullback, Keller. And Matt Keller, who scored a touchdown in the second quarter, puts it down inside the 5, first and goal.
Well, it's the same play that they scored the touchdown on, only this time they run it from the other side of the field. Tight end's going to release outside. The back's going to go out and then come back to the inside. That little maneuver of both the back and the tight end releasing to the outside. I can't clear this telestrator, guys. I was slapping upside the head, and it's going to clear anytime I talk to him. Now, they both start outside, and they both come back. That's the defense. That's tough on the defense.
It's Pearson. Well, Gerald Filardi had a hand on him behind the line of scrimmage and couldn't handle him. He spun away from him and took it inside the 5, close to the 2.
Orlando Pace, 75. Look at this. Stays with you, stays with the man, and you can't get off of it. He's big, 6'6", 330 pounds, and he's got good feet. And he stays with you. He drives his feet. Once he hits, keeps him going, keeps him moving. He's a basketball player.
Second down and goal. Pearson dives. No signal. Now you get it. Touchdown.
Offense. This time he runs to the right side. That's Daniels and Goldston. And just enough to get in.
2:34 to go in the third quarter. Josh Jackson. Bartholomew holds. The kick is good. It's 31-0 Ohio State.
And this is the play, Keith, the 4th down conversion. These are the plays that Walt Harris brings, the quarterback coach, the little things that are going to pick up conversions, making 4th and 3rd downs into 1st down.
This would be a good time to show you around the roomiest extended cab pickup there is. Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Some of the most admired cars you'll see are owned by the guys who know cars best. They're ASC certified master mechanics, and the #1 brand of motor oil these guys use in their own cars and trucks is Valvoline, makers of Durablend, the leading semi-synthetic for a cleaner engine due to better control of harmful deposits. So use the oil the mechanics who take care of your car use to take care of theirs. Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
In an age of streamlining and downsizing, Chili's still makes its Big Mouth burgers by hand, one at a time, by a person. What this lacks in efficiency is more than made up for in taste. Chili's Big Mouth burgers, monuments of inefficiency.
Play football at Chili's this season. In every restaurant, you can win 2 round-trip tickets on Southwest Airlines to anywhere they fly, a football or Chili's Big Mouth burgers, all just for playing.
Spend a moment here with a mountain of a man.
Oh, jeez.
He's coming, boys.
Plays defense, too.
Goal line.
Goal line, short yardage.
Mike Malfat will kick off. He won the Lombardi a year ago. He may win it again. He may win most everything. That kick's out of bounds. Ohio State's kicking game is not exactly sailing along smoothly, is it? Number 96 is a young man, a native son of the state of Ohio from Tiffin, named Tony Eisenhard. And he is the grandson of Moose Krause, who was the athletic director at Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
All-American in football and basketball and all of that, and an old chum.
Good guy.
He's gone now.
Good guy, Moose.
But that's his grandson. "35-yard line, Chafee Fields and Anthony Cleary. In the backfield for Penn State, 31-0 Ohio State. 2.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Wally Richardson has been beleaguered. He completes it, but Antoine Winfield is right there for the hit on Joe Nastasi.
Penn State needs, Keith, is just get some offense going. They've had a bad day offensively. They haven't got much going. They got a game to play next week. We need something to get going. You know, you say, all right, just go out there and score a touchdown. You know, what else can you do? For Andy Gannon, it's got to be a very frustrating day.
Those guys in the red shirts have got something to do with it.
That's true.
They'll run it here with Chafee Fields, and he'll get a couple of yards on the carry. After today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each team. Today, Chevrolet awarding nearly $6 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Well, Baltimore wins the series 3-1, beating Cleveland today 4-3. How about that?
The wild card team won.
Sack. Man that made that play is Katzenmoyer, number 45. Belisari put him away.
Katzenmoyer and Belisari, number 30 and number 45, have been blitzing about half of the time. Nobody picks up Katzenmoyer, and Belisari's around a little bit long. He says, hell, I'm a fourth-year senior. I know what to do when I get in there. I'm going to sack this quarterback. He's an academic all-Big Ten player the last 3 years.
And that brings up a kicking down for the Nittany Lions. David Boston waiting for it. Gets a bounce, takes it. Oh, got a block. He's a burner if he gets a little room. And he's back to the 25-yard line. And so we near the end of the third quarter. And Bob, are you a little surprised that Ohio State has just smothered the Penn State offense?
I'm impressed with Ohio State. You know, you see these teams early in the year before they play too many games, and I wasn't impressed with Ohio State after Rice, and I wasn't so much after Pittsburgh. Notre Dame caught my eye, and here today, I'm very impressed. You know, offensively, I'm impressed. Defensively, they had a lot of guys back. They're shutting out a good Penn State team. But I am very impressed with them offensively.
Well, they've got a worthy opponent coming here next week in Wisconsin.
Yes, they do. And I think Wisconsin's had a week off to prepare.
Pass intended for D. Miller, and Brian Miller went right over his head, just over the top of him, turned to flip, and no call. Play was legal, and the pass was incomplete.
Stanley Jackson came into this game the number 2 passer in the Big Ten as far as pass efficiency. He didn't throw enough balls to really have the lead or be second, but the guy that is in the lead was his backup, Joe Germain. So both the quarterbacks at Ohio State were 1 and 2 in the Big Ten passing stats.
Stanley looks around, doesn't like what he's got here. Doesn't want to play the card, and so he spins a timeout.
I don't think their performance today is going to hurt him any either.
No, I don't think so. They have been these two quarterbacks were the unknown factor, I think, at least the wild card in the deck for Ohio State, and they had 2 easy ones to crank up with. and then stepped up last week in South Bend and pretty good today. Now, we told you earlier that they don't play Northwestern. Northwestern goes to Penn State on November 2nd. So here's what remains for Ohio State after today. With Wisconsin here, they're at Purdue, they're at Iowa, and Iowa can be quicksand.
That may be a bump in the road.
Yep. Illinois doesn't appear to be strong enough to challenge them, nor does Indiana.
Ohio State has always had problems with Illinois, though, Keith.
Well, they have, yeah, historically they have, yep.
And they get Michigan here at home.
Yep. So it's at least number 3 in the country, if not better, I think. I haven't seen Spurrier's folks firsthand yet, but I guess they're pretty good too.
I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't argue with that. So.
Jackson quickly looking around, can't find anybody. He's mobile enough though, and now he'll just pull it down and run it and make something out of the play. He picked up about 7 yards. Coronado and Aaron Collins finally brought him down. See, Penn State sitting up there. Brendan Noble's a good football player. Guarantee you he is. 260 pounds, but he's just overmatched. And we've come to the end of the third quarter with Penn State in trouble. Ohio State leading 31-0. We'll be back after this word from our ABC station.
Lead car. Take it slow. Everybody okay? Wait a minute, what's he doing? He wants more. Right there, over there.
Diet Dr. Pepper, the taste you've been looking for. Chevy Blazer, the only sport utility vehicle with the driver control system. It's nice to know it's there.
3 all-new murder cases. 1 new hotshot lead defense attorney. Anthony LaPaglia. The all-new Murder 1 premieres ABC Thursday.
Gonna do some gymnastics tours on the weekend.
Carl, I gotta get this thing done.
3 hours yesterday. I'm done.
And I plan on traveling around the country for the first semester.
Bulging disc,
with all
gotta
the
go.
opportunities
Rich would be
in front of
perfect
me.
for this.
I want to try and do some speech, motivational speeches.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. I really gotta get this thing done. Larry, I'll be right back. If you can just hold Carrie for just 1 second. I gotta go to the bathroom, Gary. Is that okay with you?
No.
Hey, Chris, guys.
At PNC Bank, we can tell a lot about our customers by their signatures. This large loop indicates a traditionalist, someone who enjoys going to her local branch. This tight spacing indicates an active lifestyle, definitely someone who prefers to bank by phone. No matter which way you want to bank, this low rate on a home equity loan indicates an easy way to consolidate all your bills. To apply, just give us a call. You're an individual. Bank the way you want.
Phil Andrews, Rob Jennings, and Cecily Tynan on Action News.
At the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio State dominating Penn State 31-0. Joe Montgomery is in the backfield now with Matt Keller. Montgomery is the number 2 tailback, and we may not see much of Pepe Pearson the rest of the day. The pass intended for Buster Tillman, and it is incomplete. Buster was expected to be perhaps the go-to guy, but it hadn't worked out that way yet.
The amazing number to me of all these is Penn State on the left side rushing yards, only 29 yards for 3 quarters. Balance for Ohio State, 211 rushing and 213 passing.
Bartholomew, low line drive, and it goes by Chris Campbell and trickles out of bounds down at the 13-yard line. So a A low line drive punt that was not fielded winds up being pretty good. 55 yards.
Well, there could be a little changing in the top 25 after today's play. Penn State's going to drop some. Michigan is going to go down. Nebraska is going to move up maybe a couple of notches.
Miami probably move up too. And Miami, Florida State's next week.
Next week. Virginia losing. Kansas State.
Alabama
USC,
won pretty good. Pretty good score for them. Mike McQueary is in at quarterback now for Penn State, making his first appearance, a junior out of State College, 6'4" and 215. So Wally under siege all day, gets a bit of rest as McQueary comes in, hands the ball to Fields. And Fields now apparently, and probably Cordell Mitchell too, will be getting some seasoning. As I don't know, does this mean surrender, or does this mean that we'll just try somebody and see what happens?
This means we've given our other guys 3 quarters and they haven't got anything done. Let's go with the other guys.
Okay. Pretty simple rationale, isn't it?
That's right. Wally was 14 of 30, 105 yards, and a tough afternoon. It wasn't all his fault though.
Second down and 4. And McQueary drills it complete to Nastasi for a first down. Move it up to the 27-yard line. Mike McQueary stayed at home to play. That's all he ever wanted to do.
Final score, Baltimore over Cleveland, 4-3.
Randy Ganner, has been a tough day for him. He was telling me a story about his counterpart on the other side of the field, Freddie Puggett, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State. They had his son at Penn State this summer during their football camp. And they were razzing him a little bit about this game. And
Fields, nothing doing. That Buckeye offense really swarming. That was Belisari, so apparently that knee isn't bothering him.
And anyway, late in the camp, one day they had Freddie Puggett. They put him in all Penn State colors from top to bottom, from cap to trousers to shirts to shoes to socks, the whole logo thing and everything, and had him lead exercises. And he said, "Well, hey, I like Penn State. I'm fine with Penn State." They had a good laugh.
Second down and 9. That's a lateral, but it's caught by Fields. But it isn't going anywhere. Starting to get some reserves in the down positions on the defensive front.
Michigan State knocked off Iowa at Iowa. Purdue wins again. Boilermakers. Oh, 37. I saw that earlier, and it said it was final the other way. Sorry.
Iowa pulled it out.
Yeah.
Huh? Illinois and Indiana used the scoreboard today, didn't they? 89 points between them. Crowd trying to get into the ball game now just to have a little hoop. Here comes the blitz. The pass is caught. That's good defense by Winfield, but he just couldn't do a thing about it. Corey Jones shielding him from the ball, and he made the catch.
Blitz, when you blitz, you don't give the quarterback much time to throw. The defensive backs know it. They get up tight on their receivers, and it's a nice defensive play.
And a nice catch, but it's not enough. Brings up 4th down. It'll be the 10th punt of the day for Kenya. That's a tail dragger. Coming up to field, it is David Boston, and he'll get him on the 35. Boston's a pretty good-sized youngster and still growing.
Did you see what I saw? Unbelievable.
Did you see what I saw?
It is getting so crowded around here.
We're out of here.
The new Ford Expedition. It seats up to 9 and tows more than anything in its class. Ford Expedition, the only way to get there.
Good morning. Ty Kirby.
Room 426.
Hello,
Wants to survive his first interview.
Rubbish. Sit up straight. Don't talk too much.
Good day to you, Mr. Kirby. Good luck, sir.
Good. My lucky shoes. Hello, I'm Ted Kirby. I'm ready.
Marriott, when you're comfortable, you can do anything.
Perfect for any game, Domino's has the perfect play. Choose from 3 delicious crusts. There's classic hand-tossed, crunchy thin crust, or go deep with thick ultimate deep dish. So make the call and have it all.
For hot and wild, call Domino's. Now!
Call now and try our new Roma herb crust or any large one-topping pizza for $9.99. Any second one-topping pizza, just $4.99.
Last year, the Steelers won the AFC. Now they're going to get challenged by the Chiefs in old KC.
Well, we talked about the Ohio State. The key was the big uglies, the offensive line. 41 times they've ran it for 211 yards. And for Penn State, forced Penn State to throw the ball. And they've stopped the run, which is 34 yards rushing, and forced Richardson to throw the ball 32 times, 30 times.
Pace is not in. Yeah, he's not in out there now. Yep. See what happens. Here's Jermaine throwing down the middle, and the pass is incomplete. Knocked away from number 5, Michael Wiley. Joe Jermaine is in at quarterback now. You've got Brooks Burris out on the field. Got sort of a mix, but Orlando Pace is not out there. Eric Goldston, number 50, is out there as a starting tackle. Juan Porter is still there. So is Rob Murphy. And LaShawn Daniels, I believe, still out there.
And Coop's got his 2 true freshman wide receivers out there at the same time, so he's getting them a little experience.
This is Montgomery. And Montgomery's out of bounds, just short of the 45. Close to his first down, but I don't know. It'll be close. While they are pondering that, let us discuss tonight on ABC a brand new Second Noah, followed by new episodes of Coach and Common Law. Then the show the Washington Post calls the best drama of the new season, Relativity. All tonight on ABC. All the way across the field comes the chain gang.
Here's a look at Derek Fox. He's a backup strong safety. He's one of 13 true freshmen that have played this year for Penn State, and he's from Ohio. He's from Canton, and 4 of his uncles attended Ohio State, including Tim Fox, who was an all Big Ten performer and played for 3 NFL teams. #1 draft choice. And how he got out of here, I don't know. Freddie Puckett was telling us yesterday. He's one that got away.
Joe Montgomery pounding up the middle and got about 5 yards on the carry. Penn State's defensive people obviously tired now. And there's several reserves out on the defensive side of the ball. Maurice Daniels is out there. Zach Morrison, number 35, is out there also. That's Clint Cease. So David Macklin. Well, that happens when you get a big back who's gaining momentum in his own career running against a tired, overmatched defense.
Spencer, the running back coach, Spencer, went over to congratulate him, and he ran into his helmet. He almost broke his nose.
Jermon Jackson has now come on the field, number 25 of Ohio State, and he has the ball. That's a pair of fresh legs. Jackson almost got around the corner and was gone home. We've moved inside 11 minutes to play in the ball game, and what has turned out to be a pretty solid whipping of Penn State by the Buckeyes. There have been some scores before in the games between these two teams, you know. Last year, tremendous struggle over at State College. Montgomery is back in. He's got the ball. Boy, he's tough. 225 pounds from Robbins, Illinois. And he just ran right through Chino Prater.
I go back to what we talked about at the top of the telecast, Keith, and that is Ohio State is #3 in the nation in total offense and #1 in scoring offense. Look at this drive here, 4 rushes.
It's first and goal at the 8-yard line.
But Ohio State loses Bobby Hoying, and they lose a Heisman Trophy winner. They lose a Terry Glenn, and they lose Ricky Dudley, all top draft choices. And they come in and they reload. And in the 4th game of the season,
this is Montgomery. And he's got 4 yards, close to 5, as he gets down to about the 3.
I think one of the things you see, Keith, and you see it in these young wide receivers that they have, this kid Boston and the kid Wiley, that success begets success. Boston sees that other wide receivers like Terry Glenn are here and they're throwing the ball, or Joey Galloway the year before was a #1 draft choice. They're throwing the ball. Chris Sanders, and you go back, and they're getting a history of some pretty good wide receivers coming out of here.
They've only had 1 All-American wide receiver. You know that? 1 real consensus All-American wide receiver. Chris Carter.
Chris Carter.
Yep. It's amazing. I was startled when I saw that. Yep. Second down and goal from the 3. And Jermaine, touchdown, Matt Calhoun. Well, the score is kind of getting up now. It's about to be 38-0 if they can convert the extra point. But remember in 1994 when Penn State had that wonderful offensive machine over there? They laid one on the Buckeyes 63-14.
They had some wonderful players. You are right.
Josh Jackson. Good. 38-0 with 9:43 to play in the game.
This is too easy. Penn State has a couple of freshman players in there. They get mixed up. And if you're a quarterback and you got this opportunity, go ahead and take it.
And now from Paris, from Milan, from St. Louis.
Introducing a new look from Budweiser. Born on dating. It's the day your Bud was born, because fresh beer tastes better.
Nice label.
Thanks.
There are lots of reasons to buy life insurance. Here are 2 great ones. I'm State Farm Agent Mike Foley. As the Goff family has grown, so have their life insurance needs. That's why we get together for family insurance checkups. I make sure to explain all the options, then they decide on the plan that's right for them. Ask your State Farm agent for a family insurance checkup. It's a great way to learn about life.
It's one of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven.
People love talking about Ford Taurus.
It's fun to drive. It really is.
With Taurus, you fit in no matter what size you are.
I'm big.
I'm surprised by how much room there is inside it.
Everybody in my family's big.
Just turn the wheel a fraction of an inch. The car responds.
There's a lot more room.
It's designed so I don't have to search for anything. The seats feel like they wrap around you.
It's a state-of-the-art car.
Ford Taurus, the best-selling car in America, starting at $18,545.
This car is a pleasure to drive.
I have fun.
College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by the new Ford Expedition, the only way to get there. Chili's Grill and Bar, home of Big Mouth Burgers. Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. And State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. .9:43 to go in this ball game, 38-0. And the Buckeyes kick off to Kenny Watson. And Watson is up to the 32-yard line before he is taken down. And you may very well see some people from here on out that you have not heard much about. The last time Penn State was shut out was 103 games ago. Pitt did it 10-0 in 1987. The last
there's a look at right there, Keith. Look at the total yardage disparity.
Penn State has crossed midfield one time today, and that was the opening possession of the second half. They got down to the Penn State to the Ohio State 30, and there they stopped. This is Chris Everly carrying the ball.
This is sending a message not only to the rest of the Big Ten, but to the nation, because everybody was a little doubtful about Ohio State and how good they were, but they knew Notre Dame was good. They knew Penn State was 5-0 coming in here.
Chris Everly is a tailback. He's number 23. He's a sophomore. Fresh legs bouncing around. See some of the second unit. Shane Clark, number 2 man at nose guard, number 62 in there from Chillicothe, Ohio.
Talk about that game a couple years ago, Keith, 63-14. This is a little payback. Kerry Collins was the quarterback for Penn State. Kajana Carter now with the Bengals. Kyle Brady, another number 1 draft choice.
Short.
These teams have sent a lot of players to the NFL. In fact, on the players on the opening day NFL rosters this year, Ohio State was second with 35, and Penn State had 32.
Produced a few doctors and lawyers, too.
Yes, they have.
And folks like you and me.
A lot more than those went into professional football, I'll say that. They produced a lot of other ones.
Look at this fella. Anthony Cleary. He's 6'1", 244 pounds, and he's from Chambersburg. I mean, he is the economy side. We're seeing a lot of the young kids that come big backs coming in, aren't we? Ains at Michigan last week, we saw him.
Yep.
There's a lot of these kids, great big guys.
You know, Keith, I mentioned it earlier. You know, we said the offenses were running overboard. Nebraska was scoring all these points, and Florida and Florida State and Tennessee, they're all running up the score. What's going to happen? Is the defense going to catch up? Well, I think we're seeing what's happening.
That pass is caught by Corey Jones and turns in a big play as the Ohio State defender slipped and fell down, and he got away from him.
I think what we're seeing happening is what Ohio State and Freddie Puckett is doing right now, and that is they're being more aggressive defensively. They're playing more man coverage in the secondary, and they're blitzing and stunning their linebackers a lot more.
You know, we're going to see a big running back, a 250-pounder next week when Wisconsin comes in here against Ohio State and that fella Dane.
A young freshman.
Yep. He can move it. That's Jones in motion. McQuarrie's playing quarterback. Chris Everly's carrying the ball. And the Penn State reserves moving it down the field against the Buckeye reserves. And let's find out about Cal and USC from John.
Keith, the Trojans trying for one last gasp. 4th and goal at the 7. Brad Otten finds Rodney Sermons. They kick the extra point and now trail by just a touchdown, 22-15. And also in the ACC, Georgia Tech picked off another interception. They're holding off Virginia 13-7. Keith.
Well, upset Saturday.
Yep. But one weekend where Sky falls to the end zone. No. Kenny Watson almost did it, but Plummer was over there defending for the Buckeyes and slapped it away.
There's a look from behind the defense on the other side of the field. I don't think you can throw it much better than this. Oh, you got to catch
right
those. You got to catch those. A true freshman. A lot of true freshmen getting a lot of opportunity to play in a game like this, Keith.
2nd and 10 from the 15. And it's Cleary. And the large one is down to the 9.
Well, we said for Penn State they needed balanced run and pass, and they have not gotten either. Only 59 rushing yards, 105 passing, and neutralized the big uglies in that offensive line for Ohio State. Ohio State is dominated in that area. And I think the rest of the Big Ten is kind of looking at this with saying, hey, it's Penn State's turn this day, but they all have to come in here and play this Buckeye team.
McCreary's pass too low, intended for Bob Stevenson, and it's incomplete, so it'll be 4th down.
Well, Northwestern doesn't have to play, and that's one team, Keith, and that's, you know, Northwestern. A lot of people have written Northwestern off, said you can't do it twice in a row. You know, you were lucky, you snuck up on everybody. They lost their first game. Where was it, down at Wake Forest?
Yep.
They've come back, beaten some good teams, and now they're right back in the fight.
Fourth and 4. At the closed end of the horseshoe, the crowd jumps on him. McCreary back, throws it. Penalty flag. That'll be an interference call, and it's going to go against Central McClellan. Corey Jones was angling on a post and had position, and McClellan fouled him.
Man coverage on the outside. Right here, coming right at you. Yeah, left arm. See the left arm there. Here's an ISO right here. Watch McClellan's left arm. Yeah, he grabbed him with the left and tried to knock it off with the right. That's good camera work, guys.
1st and goal at the 2. Timeout taken, 6:53 to play in the game.
This is going to be fantastic. A week of fishing. Only one way in and one way out. Peter would have loved this. Too bad he hates to fly. Peter's a wimp.
Peter, how was the in-flight movie?
The new Ford Expedition. The only way to get there.
In an age of streamlining and downsizing, Chili's still makes its Big Mouth burgers by hand, one at a time, by a person. What this lacks in efficiency is more than made up for in taste. Chili's Big Mouth burgers, monuments of inefficiency.
Play football at Chili's this season. In every restaurant, you can win 2 round-trip tickets on Southwest Airlines to anywhere they fly, a football or Chili's Big Mouth burgers, all just for playing.
Their goals are as basic as a first home, an education, a secure retirement. Yet they own over half of all the stock in America. They are individual investors, and for them nothing is more valuable than information. Today, NASDAQ is delivering news about companies, performance tracking, even timely stock quotes, instantly. So if you're an investor who seeks vital information, you now know where to find it.
At the hub of the Ohio State University campus is the Wexner Center for the Arts, both performing and visual. The exhibit changes every 3 months. Currently showing for the students is the Hall of Mirror, the relationship between art and film since 1945.
Well, I didn't know that you had gone to the art museum, Mr. Sloan. Well done. 1st and goal from the 2. And it's Everly. No! They don't let him in. Crowd's into it. They're rooting for the shutout. McClellan and Gwynn made the tackle on Everly.
Well, McClellan saves the touchdown after he had that foul, the penalty, to get him down here. Number 20. Watch him hold on. Help! Give me some help! All right.
Tearaway jersey, he's in.
Yep.
On the 1. 2nd down and goal. Give it to the big guy. And he's got a touchdown. So the Lions have avoided the shutout.
Something tells me that that doesn't bother John Cooper a bit.
Nah.
He's good friends with Joe Paterno, and I had dinner with the 2 of those guys in Chicago, Keith, when we were in there for the Big Ten football kickoff luncheon, and they were both the best of friends. Their wives were good friends. And
Anthony Cleary had quite a fight getting in there.
Yes, he did. He was fighting.
But he got it there. Brett Conway for the extra point. And it's good. So the Lions get on the scoreboard at 6:03 to play in the game.
Take a stroll down memory lane at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
You crushed my knee. Was your toes. You broke my ribs. It was your nose. Ah, yes. I remember it well. You sacked me once. I sacked you twice. In pouring rain. No, it was nice. Ah, yes.
But when you go, don't forget your Visa card, because the Hall takes the NFL's best, but not American Express.
See ya, Nitschke.
It's Buckeyes.
Ah, yeah.
Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Is it Diet Dr. Pepper or regular? You have 10 seconds to decide. But if you can't tell the difference, don't worry. You probably can't taste the difference either, even with all the time in the world. Discover the great taste of Diet Dr. Pepper.
My name is John Anderson, born in 1914.
My age is 90.
George Hartman, I'm 101.
As we approach our 100th anniversary, we honor those who worked at the side of Henry Ford. Their spirit and commitment to quality lives on in every man and woman of today's Ford Motor Company.
We at Dr. Pepper never thought anyone would duplicate our one-of-a-kind taste. But someone finally did. We did. Discover what millions already have, the great taste of Diet Dr. Pepper.
One of those kind of days for the lads in white.
That's why winning means so much. And this is what motivates you, these types of games, the fear of losing, fear of failure.
Yeah, but this is not failure. This is a game.
Well, it is a failure. You know, you want to win the game, and that's what motivates you. The fear of losing, not failure. The fear of losing. That's why winning makes you feel so good. Any way you win, it's a W.
If time permits, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car and Rental College Football postgame report with John Saunders and Todd Blackledge. And Todd will go paint his smile on because his alma mater got whooped today.
Yes, they did.
Tom Hoying is now in the ball game, the younger brother of Bob. So Tom is out there right now, number 10. And carrying the ball is Jamon Jackson. And he's off and scooting. That extra point a while ago by Brett Conway is his 107th consecutive point after touchdown. So we're winding along now at 5:40 to play in the ball game. 38-7 Ohio State. Coordinating producer of ABC's College Football is Bob Goodrich, who produced today's game. Associate coordinating producer is Jimmy Ressler, who was actually in Manhattan, Kansas today. Our game here directed by Mr. Drew Esikoff. Sir. That's up close to the 30-yard line and close to a first down. The New York studio, produced by Charles Coplin, directed by Kelvin Haywood, technical director in New York, Karen Oble, Bruce Clark, the remote coordinator in New York, technical director here in Columbus, Ohio, Gary Larkins, who's becoming a man of the sea, associate director Mitch Green, production manager Lynn Cadden, our tech ops manager Claude Phipps, the assistants to the producer Bob O'Mara and Jake Galloway. Our statistician is Mark Ametto, our spotter Todd Berry. Joe Sullivan, computer stats, and Dick Shafter is down on the sideline. And this is Jermon Jackson roaring around the corner and picking up a first down. And Virginia was defeated by Georgia Tech, so another unbeaten fall.
Big win for Georgia Tech too. Who is that? George O'Leary?
Yep.
Down there, we were down there last year, the year before, and he was. You could just tell from talking with him that that program was was in good hands.
He went out and found every corn-fed and hand-spanked Georgia boy he could find to come play in the trenches.
Yeah.
And Georgia Tech's people from tackle to tackle now are big. They're big people, and they got some real scooters in that backfield. That CJ is he's dandy. This is Jackson again. And so Ohio State is doing just exactly what you would expect them to do, season the young ones.
Yeah. You know, John Cooper right there, just you know, he's into this because it's some young players getting an opportunity to play. It's been 11 years since Ohio State went to the Rose Bowl.
Southern California has the ball in their hands again with 1:22 to play. They're trailing by 7 points to California, trying to pull one out. They're not unbeaten, but they're certainly the favorites in the Pac-10. This is number 33, Montgomery. Joe's already had a pretty good day, and he slaps in there for some more.
So Ohio State hasn't been to the Rose Bowl in 11 years. Cooper has only been here for 9, Keith, so he has never taken the Buckeyes to the Rose Bowl, but he's been there before with Arizona State.
It'd be kind of fun if he winds up going this year and he has to play Arizona State.
That could very well happen.
Could happen. Yeah.
Arizona State, as you remember, is the one that knocked off Nebraska.
3rd and 1 for the Buckeyes, just trying to kill the clock now. They got all the points they need. This is Joe Montgomery. I tell you what, he's a pretty good looking running back.
Yes, he is.
Maybe we ought to check the bus and see if they got some more coming.
Well, it's good to see some of these guys get some playing time too, because they work just as hard in practice as the first teamers, and it's nice to see them get in there.
Let's take a look at number 79 on the offensive front for Ohio State. Number 79. That's Larry Walden. He's 6'6" and 330. And Hoying tried to run right in behind him. Orlando Pace has not been in this whole quarter, but number 79 is the same size at 6'6" and 330. He's a junior. Not quite as agile as Orlando.
He didn't move his feet. See, he didn't move his feet. That's why it's when you get a big guy like Pace that is so athletic and can move his feet. And he's a basketball player, Pace is, so that's why he can move. The 3 interior linemen for Ohio State now, the center 2 guards, are all true freshmen.
2nd down and 7. Hoying throws it into the end zone. Incomplete. Michael Wiley, the intended receiver, and it was knocked away by number 4 for Penn State. Incomplete. That would be Derek Fox, who got away.
Yes, he got away from here.
Next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. This is our lineup. Wisconsin here against Ohio State. You'll have Arizona State, UCLA. You'll have Oklahoma, Texas in the Cotton Bowl, and Alabama and NC State. So check your game on your ABC station or the games available from your cable operator next Saturday. This is number 25, Joman Jackson. He's getting some playing time and is making a statement for himself. It's late in the game, but it's effort that counts. It is the effort that gets the coach's eye.
Well, he was the backup running back, Keith, to Pepe Pearson. But he's not as good a blocker, and he's, you know, he wasn't blocking when he wasn't carrying the ball. He wasn't handling his other duties. So Montgomery kind of moved ahead of him. Just can't be one-dimensional. You got to block for the other guy. You got to block for the quarterback. You got to be able to pick up your blitzes.
Jackson again, and taken down about the 8-yard line. Clock is rolling along now. There's no need to be stopping it. This one is about to go into the books.
Coop's done a great job recruiting, Keith, the last few years. They've had some outstanding recruiting classes, and he was telling us the philosophy has been a little bit different. You know, they're not waiting for these guys. They're prioritizing their positions, and they go to the first guy and they say, hey, we want you, but we need you to commit now. And if you don't, we're going to go to our second guy and our third guy. And if they commit, we're taking them.
Jackson to the 7-yard line.
And that's not only here at Ohio State. That's kind of the way it is everywhere. Joe Paterno was telling us they do the same thing. They told us that last year, Notre Dame.
Well, the scholarship numbers are such that you've got to go get the best guy you can get, but you can't be taking a risk on somebody who can't make up their mind.
I got a feeling the quarterback's going to carry this ball right here.
Yep.
See if I'm right here.
Third down. He's got it.
Huh? See, when you're a quarterback, you can just tell the way they're running it in.
You got somebody down there sending the signal. They're going to run out the clock. This game is over. Just a matter of running off 10 more seconds. And your final score will go into the books as Ohio State 38, Penn State 7. And yes, they deserve their lofty ranking.